And we're live. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to another episode of the Aggressively Average Angler podcast. There's no Z in this one because Paul is missing. It's just me. Paul's working. You remember that one time that I wasn't here and Paul was here and he was like, "Oh, Jeff's like on a work trip or whatever." Now it's like it's flip-flopped. He sent me videos earlier today. He's like picking prunes out of trees or something for Domino's. He's like on the farm, like just getting into nature and checking out all of the fruits and vegetables and whatnot that they're putting on pizzas. So he's out there, he's busy. So you get me tonight, and you get to hang out with our buddy from a company called Source Krate, which we've mentioned a few times. It's been in some videos, but we got Josh here from Source Krate. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Now that Paul's not here, my life is just up and better, and it's great because somebody's not going to argue with me the entire episode of this live, which is
don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. All right. You feel free. Like if you want to try to replace Paul, you can argue with me. Basically, just like be really aggressive on any stance you take, even if it doesn't make sense. Just like, own it.
Double down on it. Yeah.
Always double down, maybe triple down, when you got to. But yeah, I think we can make this work. So we're going to be talking to Josh, not just about his product, but we will talk about the Source Krate product at the beginning of the show here. And I want to have some fun. We're going to both kind of rate different fishing accessories, a lot of kayak accessories, but a lot of also like universal fishing accessories. If you're a bank fisherman or woman, like you're going to be using these accessories too. And we just want to rate them. Like, is it worth bringing? Is it an overrated type of accessory? Is it an underrated type of accessory? And we'll throw in like, what is your favorite one? Like if you have a particular brand or a product that you like in that category, we'll throw it out there, mention it, and maybe it's something you guys go pick up if you're interested. All right. Let's start with the Q of the D. Now, normally Paul reads these, so this is where I get to do something different for a change. This is cool. So question of the day, and I'm going to have you go first on this, Josh, and chat, you got to participate in this too. I want your answers as well. So question of the day for this episode, what is one thing that you could live without having in your boat, kayak, water vessel? I don't care what it is. Like you're going out on a floating vessel. What is one thing that you could live without? That, and this is important, nobody else seems to be able to live without. So everybody's like, you got to have this thing on your boat. And you're like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't need that. So what is one thing? Essentially, you're saying it's overrated, right? What is one thing you would say is extremely overrated? You could live without this.
Yeah. So and this is going to be a controversial one, and we'll probably touch on this later too.
Yeah.
I can live without a net.
Without a net?
Without a net. I can either land it, you just boat flip it or flip it into the kayak. I'm not catching hogs all the time. It's mostly dinks. So I'm not too worried about the occasional decent sized fish. And I find that when I have a net, I get distracted by trying to get my net out. And then I end up losing the fish. Like I can never keep them on when I'm trying to grab my net. It's better just to focus on the fish and get them in.
Yeah, you know what? That's a pretty fair one. I will say tournament time, like the two tournaments that we've ever done. I've done two. Paul's done one with me. We were on separate teams, but that was the Knucklehead series last year, and then I did the Kayak Adventure series this year. During the tournaments, I netted everything, like every single thing. And like the one time I didn't, I lost a fish. So I'll say in a tournament setting, disagree. In a normal recreational setting, 100% agree with you. We went out last weekend. My net just sat on the front of one of our new inflatables that we've been testing out. We have the Wilderness Systems Eye Attack, which, by the way, you guys, was a lot of fun to fish out of. The net just sat at the front and it did nothing. So I'm kind of with you there, and I'm seeing some similar answers over here in chat. We've got net or fish finder. A lot of folks saying fish finder. I hear you. I've done quite a few trips this year without a fish finder, and last year even more. And it's still, I mean, it's a lot of fun. Like we still find fish. We still have a good time. We're not overanalyzing the water. We're not relying heavily on electronics. It's, getting back to nature and all that, which is good. I see fish grips. Never use them. We catch pike all the time. I never use fish grips. Do you have any of those, like lippers, fish grip?
I don't use them. I see someone make a comment about muskie or pike. I'm in Tennessee, so I can get into some muskie. I haven't yet.
Yeah.
But I'll just gamble without the net or the fish grips when that time comes and try to figure it out.
No, totally fair. So I
Yeah.
had like the nice aluminum grips, like the Rapalas, you know, they were sitting in a side pocket in my Hobie for 3 years. 3 years. I used them 0 times. Like they were just in the boat at all times. And I'm in Michigan, man. We got pike up the wazoo. We do have muskie. Paul and I don't really muskie fish, and like by-catching a muskie is a rare occasion,
Right.
very rare. So it's the bycatch of a pike though is constant. Like it's if I run a bladed jig, I'm going to catch a pike and a bunch of bass. But I am going to catch pike. If I run a swim bait, I'm catching pike and bass. So even though I catch pike all the time, I don't use them. So I could definitely live with that. I think fish grips are overrated in my opinion, unless you're on the salt and you don't want to lose the hands. So maybe saltwater, like I get it. That's different from what I'm fishing. So there you go. You might have.
Yeah, saltwater is a whole different game. Actually, one thing I do carry that is probably different from a lot of people is I carry leather gloves sometimes. And it's more so for if I'm getting tangled up and stuff in branches, or there's a lot of like little aluminum fences or barbed wire fences and stuff that run into the water off people's properties.
Yeah.
And I don't want to worry about getting cut, then I just throw on my gloves. It's also great for hauling the kayak out and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally get that. I will also say something that I used to carry a bunch that I think is overrated now and I don't use is the old shorty paddle. I had the assault paddle.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yay big. I constantly carried it, never used it. And I was like, you know what? Eventually got to a point where I was like, I need to strip this boat down. Like there's way too much crap in here that I don't use. And that was one of them. Had to go. Got it out of there. So I could definitely live without that. What else? I would say like cell phone holder. Like we do content. I don't know. I'm going to force myself to use it because Yak Attack's coming out with one. We're going to get our hands on the new Yak Attack Roto. It's like a Roto grip that they have. It's just wider.
Yeah, I saw that at iCast.
Yeah. So we're going to get our hands on that. I will force myself to use it, but it's not something that I would normally, need. But yeah, there's so many different accessories. So I'll just say this. We need to get into the show. We need to talk about some of these accessories and what's overrated, what's underrated, and of course, the ever important rated, just appropriately rated midsection. We're going to address those as well. So getting into accessories. Number one, we're not going to talk about any life-saving requirements. They are required in our eyes, whether your state requires them or not. I think most do. So we're not talking about PFDs. We're not going to rate them. They're appropriately rated, or if not underrated, because not enough people wear them. So PFDs. We're not going to talk about paddles. You should always have a paddle of some sort, not the little shorty guy, like an actual paddle. Maybe a long collapsible oar even is a good one. We're not going to talk about lights, whether it's nav lights, which you have to have if you have a motor, or just the high vis light or light on a pole that you have to have for tournaments and early morning, late evening paddling. You got to have that. I'm not going to talk about first aid kits. You should have one, right? I get it. You're like, okay, Dad. Like, no, seriously, have a first aid kit. My hands get jacked up all the time. Like I'm cutting myself with braid. One of those pike that I chose not to lip because I don't believe in fish grippers. It ripped apart my thumb. Like stuff like that happens, right? Have a first aid kit, or duct tape at least, so you just patch yourself up. And then a safety flag, which kind of goes with that high vis light. So we're not talking about any of those. Those are just a given. You got them. You should have them. If you don't have them, go get them. So let's start with what you make first, and consequently what a lot of different brands out there make. We've done a couple of reviews on these. We've done a couple of comparison videos. Paul and I actually the other day, you guys, we just filmed with the Source Krate, but we had the Source Krate. We had the Wilderness Systems. We just got that one in. We had the Blackpack Pro. We had the Flambeau, the 2-hatch option that they have. I think it was like $80, $100, something like that. And we had a milk crate, just standard milk crate, and maybe a couple other things. So there's a lot of different ones out there. We just filmed a video comparing a bunch of them, talking about pros and cons. That video will drop relatively soon. I think it's next week. Paul's putting that one up on Friday, possibly. But talk to us about what it is that you're offering, and I'll screen share it here in just a second so you guys can see what we're talking about. But just talk to me about where Source Krate came from, man. Your brainchild. Where did this come from?
Yeah, so I'm a metal worker by trade, so I spent my whole career. I'm young. I'm 27, but I spent my whole career as a welder, sheet metal fabricator, and I always felt like there's a lot of plastic in the kayak fishing industry. Obviously, the boats are plastic.
Yep.
Everything was plastic. And to be fair, there's a lot of benefits to plastic. It's generally pretty lightweight, pretty strong, pretty tough, and really, really cheap. I came up with the idea for the Source Krate back before the Blackpack Pro actually had announced at all. And so it was like the competition was like the Hobie H Krate. And it's like this thing it's rough, it's small, it just doesn't fit everyone's needs.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I take my knowledge and my experience and improve on my very casual kayak fishing? I'm not a tournament angler yet. I'm trying to get pumped and figure all that stuff out. But how can I improve my experience, and then how can I share that with people? And that kind of expanded into the Source Krate. And so it's the first aluminum kayak crate, which makes it extremely light. It's only 4 pounds without any accessories on it, and durable and tough. Like, you can go and take a hammer to this thing, and our brackets that connect the metal panels are plastic, and I 3D print them in my home here in Tennessee. But if you break them, you can also just buy one replacement. You're not losing your whole crate. It's a solid product. And what else it did was it allowed us to, and when I say us, I mean it's like my wife and I, but it allowed us to make a really modular crate, because I'm a very casual fisherman. I don't want to tell anyone else how to fish. I want to let people choose how they want their stuff. And so that's where we really got into what mounting system is going to work for mounting all these accessories. And that's where we came across the M-LOK mounting system, which is very popular in the pew-pew world. And
y'all know what pew-pews are. Don't ask. We're not allowed to say that word on YouTube. So yeah, it's for pew-pew accessories, right? Like if you want to attach anything to your pew-pew, and we're done saying that word for the rest of the day. There you go. You get it.
But yeah, so we decided on this system, and it's actually an M-LOK licensed product. They have a license that you can go and apply for when you're starting a business through Magpool, which is really cool that they offer that, and it's not a patented thing that they keep safe and tight. And that allows us to create accessories and for people to DIY their own accessories that can mount anywhere at pretty much any angle, anywhere on the crate, while keeping it light, super easy to adjust. The whole crate goes together and can be adjusted with a 1/8-inch Allen key. And that really lets us create the most modular system on the market. And what else this is doing is, I got to stop calling it a kayak crate, because it's actually more of an outdoorsman crate. And we're starting to look into other markets, like taking it to the range, going out and taking it duck hunting, kayak duck hunting, all these other things that you can do with this. And so we're really pushing hard on that and really trying to get some of that stuff out. We have a bunch of new products releasing this month. And with 3D printing, what's really cool about this, and there's a few things that are really cool about 3D printing. First of all, it allows us to rapidly adjust and tweak designs, and it's not like, well, this is the way we designed it, so you're stuck like that forever. Like, we take feedback really, really seriously. Like, I think when I sent you yours, Jeff, the cup holder broke like the first day.
Oh, I shattered you guys. I was helping with testing. So Paul and I were out. I had it in my kayak. I took this giganto thingy. So this is like a pretend Stanley. It's like 40 ounces. So it's girthy, and I just go, hey, check out this cup holder, Paul, and it just exploded from the bottom. So I can see, just based on the picture here, that you're on like V 4, 5.
Yeah. So basically what it was I was making it too thin, and then I was also I was supporting the whole weight of the bottle or below where the screws were attaching, so it would actually just rip off the bottom part.
Yeah.
And
that's what happened to me.
right. Yeah, I sent that to them, and I got that picture of that, and I was like, oh no, I did something wrong. But it allows us to go back and change that stuff extremely quick and remedy these situations. And also, like the name Source Krate, it's open source. So I actually offer my files for free I don't have them all up yet, but I do have a few of them up for free, and it might have you make an account. It'll be locked behind that. Yeah, but you can go download
you've got designs,
CAD files for free and 3D print them yourself. And so we chose to go with ASA, which is like a upgraded version of ABS. It's a little bit more weather resistant, and it really allows it to withstand, sitting in a hot car, sitting out in the sun all day. I beat the crap out of all my stuff, so I was like, it's really got to hold up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, wait till you see our inflatable videos. We are dragging them to the beach as far as we possibly can on ground, and then we're just throwing them around. We're gonna beat the tar out of them, and I have beat the tar out of this. Actually, I took this, what I was using it for, I was putting it into my Old Town. So I have the Old Town Big Water. The Big Water has like a narrow rear cargo area, whereas I'm used to, like, the Titan X has a living room in the back. In the stern of the boat, like, you could have 4 kids just hanging out, like, so my kids can come with me, just my dog could sit back there, whatever. Plenty of space. The Old Town, designed more for speed, a little bit different. So that narrow cargo space in the back. This 13 by 16, I have a 16 by 16 Black Pack Pro. It wouldn't fit back there. This did. And then you also came out with these little extender feet, which allowed me to have the rods sitting in there, because one of the issues I ran into was the rods would like hit the gunnels, the sides of the kayak, and you couldn't like have anything in there really. It was a pain in the butt. So that solved a big problem. But yeah, like I used the tar out of it, thrown it around. I've broken it 4 or 5 times while during testing with you, the cup holder. And then we talked about, you added like the little guard strip. Are you still doing that? The guard strip on top?
So I haven't had anyone cut their net yet, actually.
Oh, all right. See, you got to ask me, man. I'm good at breaking stuff.
Did you cut your net?
I did. Okay. I frayed it up a little bit, but that's me. Honestly, I don't even use the cargo net. And I saw that you have, so here's the cargo net, you guys, right there, which is cool. Like, if you're going down the river, like you go through a rapid section, you just go whoop, boop, and you just keep all your stuff in there. I think that's great if you want like a lightweight attachment. I saw in your home image here, though, I was going to ask you about this.
I think it's under shop. Yeah.
You got the lid on there. If I go just here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like with the crates and stuff. There it is. See that? So you're going to do a lid?
Yeah.
A little hinge on there?
Lid. It's coming out. I don't know if it'll be this week. It's coming out soon. It's coming out really soon. And I'm taking it out actually tomorrow to take it on its first river trip and beat the crap out of it. But so far, it's been pretty good. It's not going to be cheap. It's all this stuff. Metal's not cheap. I know how to get the price down, and unless I'm ordering hundreds of thousands of dollars worth, I really can't get the price down anymore. But it's that lid will be really, really nice for people that want a lid, because that's been one of our most requested things is a lid.
Yeah, no, I do think that is cool, and I think a lot of people are going to like that. Plus, I see you have a divider in there as well.
I do, and
which I like a lot.
Also am working on a like offset side, kind of like the short stack, but it's more for like just a single tackle box kind of thing, or whatever. So it's like it's pretty open, just like everything. I'm not going to try to make it waterproof, because that kind of nothing on this crate's waterproof. Yeah. So but it'll.
It's breathable. Like what are you talking about?
It's breathable. It dries quickly.
I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect for someone like me that I'm more like inside my crate. I'm carrying camera gear. I'm carrying my soft plastics bag that you can see in that photo, and I'm carrying my snacks. And then I travel pretty light, so it's a couple rods and a tackle box, and that lets my tackle box be really accessible, either in the divider where it's easy to get to, or off on the side where I don't even have to open up the lid.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, your price is your price. You got to deal with metal. I get it. What I think is cool though is like the accessories all look pretty affordable. Plus, if somebody had a 3D printer or they had a buddy that had one, you're giving the designs away. That's insane, by the way. I think it's insanely cool that you're doing it. But it's insane to me. Like, what company's doing that? But that's super cool, man. And yeah, like the way I put it in the video we just shot is like, in terms of modular accessories, because you're borrowing from hunting and fishing, like we get access to, as fishermen and women, for example, like we get access to accessories we wouldn't think of. Like I would never think of, like, let me jump to accessories here. There's a few off the top. First of all, the trash bin. which is
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's,
that's my favorite thing. That, and I can't even claim that I came up with it, but
dude,
it's
it's great.
so handy.
Yeah, so I love that. You got flywheel attachments. There's three on the corner. This triple rod holder, that's absurd.
It's
Uh,
perfect for lake guys. It's awful. I
yeah.
do a lot of river low hanging limbs. It does not work for me,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's great for the people that want to fit 12 rods on, that crate and then still have their dump bin and soft plastics bin, cup holder, all that stuff.
Dude, I was just imagining the three on every corner. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
wild.
bonkers. This tank of a crate. But I also really like this little pack that you could throw on the sides of that too. That is
Yeah, so
another
that
cool one.
that really lets you mount any molly pouches. So you're talking about
Yeah.
medical kits, and no one really pushes first aid kits enough, I
Mm-hmm.
feel. And so this will
Agreed.
really allow you to like mount it on the outside or inside, wherever it's easily accessible. It's not loose and it's just
Yep.
reaching behind you and grabbing it. They even make some like tear off IFACs, which I think are really cool. So
Oh,
they're just
nice.
Velcroed on there. It's on like a Velcro panel. So you can throw
Yeah.
those on those and then just rip it off when, I try to lip a muskie.
Oops. Yeah, so that's really cool, man. You're definitely coming out with some very unique, I would say, accessories. Oh, and we got this one too. The soft plastics bin is great. How it sits as well is nice, and that lid just pulls down with the bungee. So I've already attached this. I got the trash can on there. We're going to experiment with it. And then you were telling about us about these top left two here as well at iCast when we got a chance to bump into you a couple times while we were there. So we're getting track mounts, right?
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, you're priced actually really similar, if not cheaper, than the gridlock system that Yak Attack has, which I love to see. So yeah, you can take any of your track mount accessories and pop them on there too.
And those accessories actually retain the original function of a track mounted accessory where you can just twist it and slide it out. But any
Oh,
of the
nice.
slots you can through bolt. It fits a quarter 20 bolt through any of the slots on the crate.
That's what you told me. That's what you told me at
Yeah.
the show. That's right. So any of those track bolts that you guys have for your track accessories, they actually go through these slots right there, and you can just bolt it on, which is sick. So anything you do have track mounted, you could just put anywhere on this crate you want. It's pretty nuts, man. So I think you're doing some cool stuff with this. If you guys want to check out Source Krate, make sure you go to the site, check this out, look at all the accessories, see if it's right for you. He's got some different kits, starter kits at the main page and in the shop there that you can look at. We're gonna modular the heck out of our own, and that's to me, I'm with you. That's like my river crate. I don't want to take my black pack necessarily because I take my Shoaly out on the river.
Right.
Black pack will fit. I got to put the extension feet on there. It's a bunch of added weight. If I want to just be throw and go, like this is my throw and go crate right now that I'm messing around with. Because I've got the Wildy, this, and then the black pack. Black pack's like tournament day, short stack, full of like, a million different tackle boxes and all the plastics I could ever not need because I always bring way more than I need. And then this is my tactical advantage, like going light for the day, hit the river. It's definitely tactical, right?
Yeah, throw
But
the
it's
red dot on it. Yeah.
exactly. So it's been great for that type of outing though. So I definitely like it. I think you guys should check it out. There you go. So that's Source Krate. So speaking of crates, like I'm gonna go ahead and stop my screen share here. Let's bounce back. We're gonna get into our overrated, underrated, all that stuff. We're talking about crates. To me, like crates are rated appropriately. I don't hear a lot of people out there like, you don't need a crate. They might say you need just a $10 milk crate, or go ask your grandma or grandpa who definitely have 12 milk crates in their basement for some reason. You can just borrow one of them and you can attach all the accessories you want for $25. Okay, sure. So if you want to go budget, you can go that route. I think everybody should have one, and nobody's out here saying you don't need them. So I think they're appropriately rated. But for you, other than you can't pick your own. Sorry, but like you got your own crate. I know you would pick. What are maybe some crates that got your brain spinning on this? Because you said you thought about this before the Black Pack Pro came out. Were there any other crates where you're like, you know what, I'd love to be able to do more with this, but they were like on the right track for you?
I think really the one that stood out in terms of like, hey, we're trying to do something that's really customizable was the H crate. And
Yeah.
I think that it just kind of doesn't have a huge space in the market anymore. And which is, I think that I
Do they
really
still
like,
make it?
I
I haven't
I don't
seen
even
one.
know. Yeah, I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah.
I actually really like the I think it's the Railblazer, the little cube one that they got.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got slots on the side, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. That came out, I think, earlier this year too. And
Yep.
the Wilderness Systems one is cool. I think I really like when it's like fully sealed up like that. I think that has a lot of value there. Is it insulated like a cooler, or is it?
The Wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It doubles
See,
as a cooler.
that's great. Like that
the
is that is great.
There's a major drawback to the Wildy. I found out, you guys. The top layer that's see-through, which is cool that it's see-through, is it has like this greenhouse effect. So anything you put in the top of the Wilderness Crate will be molten lava when you are done. So do not put snacks in there. My keys were on fire. Like every time we go out, plastics. If you put Z-Man Elastec up there, this is a warning to anybody who likes the Wilderness Crate. I like that crate a lot. You just have to learn how to use it. If you put Z-Man Elastec up there, it will, on a super hot Texas day, it will melt and they will kink up. So I had flukes. They're like scent shad flukes. Forget what they're called, but anyways, a scented fluke, right? And the tails were all bent at 90 degrees because it was just sitting in there folded up. So I recommend you don't do that. It's cool that it's see-through. It has a big drawback, but you're right. Like that to me, like those two are very unique takes on the market. The H crate was too. I had an H crate for 3 years. I sold it with my 360, my Hobie 360. When I got rid of that, I was just like, take the crate, take it, everything, whatever, because I don't need H rail accessories. The issue with that one was the top cover sucked. It was horrible. It went in with plastic rivets and it had a zip top that wasn't wide enough to take your tackle out. What the heck? So it just was not a good design. The rest of the crate was cool. The bolt patterns didn't line up to any Yak Attack accessories because it's Hobie, so that was lame. And then you could put H-rail attachments around the top of it, which was kind of cool. And then you had just the 4 rod holders, which were the corners, but you could add additional rod holders, which is what I did, or you just leave 2 rods on the deck. Wasn't the greatest, wasn't the worst. Definitely was different, I would say, than everything else in the market, which is always cool to see. Innovation. That's what you want to see. I did have a question for you from chat. From your homeboy from Tennessee, DeBurley AAA Hype Man asks, what part of Tennessee are you from?
I'm in Knoxville. I'm from Oregon originally. I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee back in 2017. So I've been here a while, and I definitely cheer for Rocky Top.
There we go. Let's go. I know nothing about Tennessee, so good job. I'm sure DeBurley's happy about it. All right. Oh, DeBurley, you want to trade? You want to trade a full-size desert tan? First of all, desert tan, great color on the black back. If you don't like the Wilderness. I do like the Wilderness. I'll let you use it if you want next time we're on a trip together. But I do like it. So I'm going to keep using it. And it's nice having the 3 because we're at a point now with the channel where like this is the first year any company sent us boats, which is insane to us. We're like, we just got a kayak for free. It's mind-boggling, right? So we got inflatables. We got, 2 inflatables came in. We both got Old Towns this year. We did buy our Crescents, but we got a discount. I got a discount on my Titan X. So we've got boats up the wazoo. Having multiple crates, kind of nice because you can just like latch it into those kayaks and they just live on that boat. You take that boat out as a crate that goes with it, which is cool. So I think that's pretty good on crates. Like I said, you guys definitely check out Source Krate, and you guys have and we'll call it out again at the end of the show, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you all over the place?
Yep, all over the place. I'm trying to get some actual like fishing videos on YouTube now that like really show off the crate and stuff like that. I have a passion for really crappy cinematography, so I'm trying to like get into like making good looking videos versus like quality over quantity. Trying to make stuff that people actually enjoy watching. So I'm really trying to lean into that because otherwise it's just like, look at this rod holder 8 different times. Like, and I'm really trying not to do that. But we're all over the place.
Awesome. So just at Source Krate, anywhere at people go.
Krate. Yep.
Spelled the way you guys see it on his name tag right there. So definitely go check that out. What I would love to see in your content, you're telling me you're bashing this thing, like throw that thing, beat the crap out of it.
Okay. I got something for you. So the original prototypes were out of stainless. So they're like 15 pounds. They're like freaking heavy.
Yeah.
And I live on a steep little hill, and I'm going to go throw brackets on them again, like build them out and throw them down my driveway.
Awesome.
And just, yeah, that's something I have on the queue to do. And I'm going to put a GoPro in it and have it be the full, we're going to beat the crap out
the
of them.
GoPro tumbling is going to be killer. Also, like, it's so funny because has anybody ever like lost a crate out of a truck? Because we may have once or twice. We've also lost a kayak out of a truck. Paul's his Hobie actually slid out. It was like stuck on his window and it got dragged for a few yards as he had to pull off the road, which wasn't great. But that survived. And he lost his he got a nice, we were able to go to our buddies over at Water Dog Outfitters in Whitehall. They gave us a discount on bending branches, the adjustable one. It's a $380 paddle. His fell out of his truck. It freaking fell out of his truck. So bad. But a crate can tumble. So if you show like, hey, this will hold up rolling down the driveway, I think that would be cool for anybody who's concerned about that. I strap the heck out of my stuff. So I tend to make sure stuff doesn't leave my truck.
One thing I want to touch on really quick is that I really want everyone that's watching this, that is listening to this, please feel free to reach out and give us recommendations for accessories, because that is something that we can do. And it's, I want everyone's input of what they would want on that crate, even if they're not buying it, even if they want it so they have the free file to print themselves and slap it on a milk crate. Great. We're, growing that DIY community. That's where I come from. So it's like, please, feedback is so important.
Dude, I love that, because what other company is listening? I mean, they listen, but it takes like 2 years and it gets into a cycle, and eventually they're like, here it is at ICAST 2-4 years later, like whatever. But you guys definitely are listening, because we gave a bunch of feedback when we were beating the crap out of ours, and you took it to heart. You made changes. That cup holder redesigned it like 4 or 5 times. Like, it's looking way better. I dig it, dude. That's awesome. All right, so let's have some fun with the rest of the show here. We're gonna go overrated, rated, underrated. Chat, you're playing too. Maybe we'll vote on some of these. If like Josh and I are like at odds about it, let's put it to chat. Chat will be the tie break on this. All right. So whenever we differ, we'll throw a vote up in chat. Chaz, we cool with that? Yeah. All right. So chat, you're playing along. Let's go through this and just comment overrated, rated, underrated, however you feel about some of these products. So we talked about crates. Let's go to all these other fishing accessories. And my gosh, as I was listing this out, I was like, oh yeah, this. There's like 45 on my list right now we got to go through. We'll see how many we can get through. So let's throw in some of the like obvious one. Pliers. How do we feel about pliers, Josh?
I think I just got to go rated on them. Unless there's something, you can get them for super cheap. They're super handy. Like, unless there's some really expensive ones out there that are mind blowing that I haven't seen yet, they're just rated.
There are some out there, but I think those are overrated. I'm not spending $130 on a pair of pliers. Like, they're cool. We went to the Gomexis booth at ICAST, and they have more affordable one, like 30, 40, $50. But then they've got the $130 pliers. I had them in hand. I'm like, whatever. There's also this, I think there's a pair that's $600. And like Sims makes some, they make some fly nippers that are like $200.
Oh my gosh.
They're not worth that much. I'm sorry. Like, I don't understand it. I've been using $5 pliers forever. I have these little split ring pliers that live on my boat. I got a 3-pack on Amazon for $10. So they're less than $5 total. Right. So, dude, no way. I'm with like Feather Outdoors saying $50 max. I might consider that. $50 is still kind of pushing it. I had the Bubba pliers. I'll say this. I had the Bubba pliers. They were $50 when I got them. Did not like them. Didn't like them. And the like line cutter, the blades are replaceable. I know, but they dulled out so fast. I was like, what am I doing here? I don't want to use these. So I got rid of those pretty fast. And yeah, Ramon, we called them out. You're right. 700. So it's like $699. And they were at ICAST too. They came in this like big case, like just, what you would get a commemorative coin in, right? Like this big, just open wood case. And you're like, these are my pliers. I'm not using those to get all fish gutsy. Like, no way, dude. But there have been so many times I hit the water and I'm like prying a wacky hook out of a fish's mouth, and you know how those just don't want to come out, or a drop shot hook. And I'm like, why did I forget my pliers? It's one of those things where if I forget it, I get so mad. So yeah, pliers, rated. I don't think a lot of people are out here saying you don't need pliers. However, let's go to number 2 here, split ring pliers, which is, these are the pliers I use. They're multi-purpose, but split ring pliers. How do you feel about those?
Probably underrated, because I haven't really ever thought about carrying them on my kayak. Yeah. I don't change out trebles much or anything. Like I said, I'm a dink wrangler over here, so it's like I'm not needing them that often. But I'm gonna go underrated, and maybe I'm gonna pick up a pair of those because that actually sounds handy.
Yeah, so the 3-pack that I bought on Amazon, Paul and I both use those. Have been using them for years. They're great. I don't use them to cut line because after a while they're like scissors. They just start to suck at cutting line. I have a different tool for that, which we'll talk about next, which are like snips. But split ring pliers to me are definitely underrated. I don't think a lot of people carry them. The reason they're underrated, like you would think I don't change out trebles. I don't either. However, I've been running some like finesse jerk baits with the light wire trebles, and I've had them fold out on a 2-pounder. Just a 2-pounder, like dinks, man. Fold out on a 2-pounder, and I'm like, well, I want to keep using this jerk bait. So then I have a little treble hook kit, and I want to swap it out. I'm not touching these tiny split rings. There's no way I'm getting that off with my hands. So split ring pliers all day, underrated. I'm with you on that. All right, so let's go to the snips. We'll go like snips and nippers, nail clippers, like that line of tool or accessory. How do you feel about those?
I have used nail clippers like my entire life. Cheap nail clippers until they're rusty and they're dull across the whole blade. Yeah, they get gross. But I guess I don't know. I feel bland saying rated. There's not the ones that are over $10, honestly, overrated. I have not used any nice pair that actually holds up, where it's like, great, I can change the blades, or I could buy 10 nail clippers for $6 and like have them forever.
Dollar store.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, any dollar store in America you go to right now, you can get nail clippers for $2, $1 maybe. They'll hold up for a while. It's insane. So I'm with you. I would go rated on this. I feel like everybody's probably grandpa, grandma, dad, mom who fishes has these, uses these. They're in those old tackle boxes, the flip top tackle box. They're in there. If you open up any Plano 3-tier tackle box, I'm willing to put money on it right now. There are nail clippers in there.
And it smells like power bait.
And it smells like power bait. And it's got a bunch of weird lures you never would have thought of using, and probably some banjo minnows in there. I guarantee it. Check it out. So yeah, snips, nippers, nail clippers, whatever you want to look at, I would say rated. I'm with you on that. Overrated when you get to the Sims, like fly nippers. Fly guys, they get real serious about the nipper setup. They want the expensive ones. It can be a pain in the butt to clip tippet line. If you guys have never done it, it's like super thin line, especially when you get down to like really light fly fishing. Yeah, it gets pretty bad. So I can see where they're gonna say like you should go that route. I'm with you. Cheap nippers are great. I will also say, like, I've been using them for a long time. The Line Cutters multi-tool is fantastic. I don't know what category it specifically fits into. It's kind of its own world. But that multi-tool with the hat clip lives on my hat 24/7, except for on podcasts, because what do I need that here for? All right. But when I'm fishing, I always have those on me. And when I don't, I actually have been doing this thing. I've forgotten it for a trip or two, and I'll go out and I'm fishing. I go to clip a bait and I'm just like, oh no, what do I do? It's not there. And I have to use those pliers that live in my boat. So anyways, I'm with you on that. One more of these types of tools, we'll call them cutting utensils, right? Scissors. How do you feel about scissors?
Does anyone actually use scissors anymore?
People use scissors. I know. Okay. All right. I went fishing with Ethan Duvetter, Fish Anything, y'all. And he had like the crap paper scissors that like paper cutting scissors that you would see in not elementary school because they weren't safety scissors, but like your middle school classrooms had these scissors. And that's like what he cut all his line with. And I didn't know this about him until we went on this trip when we went up in Michigan with Debo. That was so funny to me. But scissors to me, totally overrated. Like I don't with every other tool I have, I don't see why I need them.
Like, right. Yeah. I have cutters, and I'm seeing people saying yes for braid. I don't know. I haven't had issues cutting braid. I don't fish a ton of braid though, to be fair.
Yeah.
I fish just mostly mono.
I fish a lot of braid. Every single my spinning reels have braid on them. My bait casters have braid on them. I don't use scissors. I have the Cuda scissors, which I will say, if you're going to get scissors, $5 titanium scissors. They're insane. And yeah, they hold up. I have them in my office actually, just for like demoing stuff. But otherwise, I'm using the line cutters all day. I'm not grabbing those scissors. Like I'm never using those. It's me, totally overrated. And yeah, Freedom Fishing says toenail clippers for braid. You know, most of the time you can get away with doing that, right? Like it's when they're all rusted up and they couldn't cut your nails anymore, let alone braid. Then yeah, you need some new clippers.
Yeah. Also, you have to have toenail clippers for the hangnails. If you're getting hangnails out on the water, like, come on, multi-purpose.
Right? What are you gonna do? Rip it out? You don't rip out hangnails. That's the worst idea anybody's ever had. All right, so scissors, overrated. How about your phone? How does everybody feel about having their phone on their trips when they're going out?
Man, I honestly, I could leave it. I could leave it. If I like having my photos, but now that I got my GoPro, I could just I'm honestly, I could leave it. Do I like sending photos to my buddies that are working? Yes. Yeah, I do.
You want that picture of your PB, you know?
Right, right. My 15-inch PB. So there we go.
1.2 pounder, boys. Let's go.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, I think it's, I don't know, maybe a little overrated. I'll go overrated on the phone. So I don't think it's.
Here's the thing. Everybody thinks for pictures. Everybody thinks for like whatever, text, phone calls, music. Some people, all right, speakers, first of all, I didn't put on my list, but I'm just going to go right here and say completely overrated.
Agreed.
Who's bringing speakers? You're in the great outdoors. Enjoy the great outdoors. But the thing you got to think about with your phone is the SOS. It's the 911. It's the I'm in trouble. I'm lost on the river trip. So that when I hear that, like, that's where I go rated. I wish I didn't feel like I had to bring it. I wish we weren't all attached to our phones. But I feel like it has to be at some level of rated.
For some reason have bad luck with service in East Tennessee. So when
so it wouldn't matter.
So it's like it doesn't matter. And then the second my hands are wet, my iPhone just doesn't seem to work.
Right.
So like when I actually did catch a decent sized fish the other day, I have like 8 photos of my face struggling trying to flip the camera around.
Bro, also it's covered in fish guts, right?
Right, so right. So I'm gonna stay with overrated. And you know what? If I flip my kayak and drown, I don't have to worry about making money anymore. That's a pessimistic look on it.
You go out happy, man. Doing what he went out doing what he loved.
Yeah. Dang it. Look for my name on the news, everyone.
Yep. DeBurley, good idea. Like Life 360 or something on your watch. You could do it. You could get just an SOS button of some sort. Yeah, sure. There's lots of other things. Also, Ramon called out, I was thinking about this. SOS feature should work with no signal too. So if everybody's like, I don't know, should I not? You could. I'm going to go rated. You're going overrated. I think, Chaz, let's put it to a vote in the chat. Can we do 3? Go overrated, rated, underrated? Yeah, let's do it. All right, so we're going to throw a vote up into chat, y'all. Make sure nobody's sleeping on the job. I want to hear what you guys think about your phone. Keep in mind, you could do like a Life 360 or something else if you don't want to have it for emergency purposes. So what else is it there for, right? I know for a fact I immediately turn off all notifications. I go airplane mode when I'm out there because I'll start getting texts and emails from work. And I'm like, this is not work time. This is fish time. Get out of my life. So I don't want to have that distraction going on because you're like trying to concentrate. You're trying to figure out that puzzle and you're just like buzz. Like it's in my life jacket. I'm just like, dude, shut up. Come on. All right. So right now, about 25 votes in. We got it as rated 65%. So we'll let that go for another couple seconds and we'll pull that down. Looks like most people are with me, although the next best is overrated. They're with you as well, Josh. So that is interesting. Phones, man. Get away from them. I'm going camping this weekend. I'm going to go no phone for 4 days. So if you guys see any posts, it's Paul. Paul's putting them up. Yeah. DeBurley, I just need a little finger counter for that to track the number of jackhammers that I lose. Which luckily now with the Evo being out, unless I get the Evo tungsten, I can at least only lose $10 instead of $16, which is a good change. All right, so Chaz, let's go ahead and pull that one. It looks like Rated is the winner. So phones on the water, perfectly rated. Moving on. Next one I've got for you. We're getting into more Yak accessories at this point. You've seen the Yak Attack track pack, and you're adding your little side mount, right? So I want you just thinking like that. But the track pack, so a track mounted small rectangular box, which you can throw a bunch of crap into. How do we feel about those?
I still will go underrated. I mean, that's the soft plastic spin is track mounted. Actually, you can go and throw that on your track.
Yeah,
yeah. So I think that I was such a messy fisherman, which is where a lot of these organization things come from. And I would end up with hooks in my leg and soft plastics like melted to my heels. And it's like, okay, I got to do something. So still underrated until all kayaks have a clean deck.
Yeah. I'm with you. Underrated. I want to see those on like every boat. So yeah, you can mount yours, you can mount the track pack, but Paul and I call it the bait graveyard. And it's where like it's either on deck or the bait graveyard. I preferably would use two. So I'm probably going to track mount yours. So I'll have yours and I'll have the track pack side by side. And one will be like bait graveyard. And then the other one's kind of like a staging. So it's like, oh, well, this lure's working. I'm going to cut it off for now because I'm hitting different cover, right? We moved off the shallow grass. Now we're into 26 foot of water. I got to fish something different. So I cut it off, but I'll go back to it later. So I have like this staging zone. And then the other one's like, I'm done with this, or these Senkos are ripped to pieces. So they're going into the bait graveyard to die.
I have on my shoalie where I have the seat up higher, there's two little pockets for the feet on the seat. Yep. And the left one is for the soft plastics that aren't Elastec, and the right one is for Elastec. So
smart, yes.
And with the shoalie, I don't really have a good place for the bin. It doesn't seem to rest right on the T-track because the boat actually comes up over. But otherwise, I'd have that bin up there all the time.
Yeah, that's another good call out. So it's like if you're fishing Elastec or any elastomer bait, it needs to live separately. And even some of those need to live separately of each other because some of those, when they mix up, don't play so nicely together. So it's a good idea to keep them separate. So maybe something you can think about for your bin that you have, the track pack, they came out with those, like it's two stackable like shelf pieces, right? And they have a couple different sizes for the bait trays on the inside. So they have like the long vertical one for your jerk bait, and they have little square ones that you could throw a terminal in or whatever. Like maybe a good idea too. I use that to separate the Z-Man plastics from everything else as well. So like you live over here, you guys live over here, but little dividers. Overall, definitely it's to me still underrated. I'm sure it'll become perfectly rated when like everybody's using them in the next couple of years. So, all right, rod holders, not necessarily on your crate. So I want you to think about like the Scotty mount, like the extra rod holder. Because I'd say crate, including rod holders, we've already decided it's perfectly rated. Everybody should have that. But an extra rod holder.
Completely overrated. My wife likes fishing with one, and I hate that they're in the way. I hit them with my paddle. If they're too far forward, I can't reach them. I'm kind of a chaotic paddler, so it's like anything remotely in front of me is getting hit. Yeah. And I decide I'm done and have to power paddle back to the boat ramp. So completely overrated. I have no interest in using them. You know, in terms of rod holders, something that was really cool at ICAST was the yak rods, the magnets. Yeah. I don't know if you guys got to see those, but that was really, really cool. I'm still fishing with an ugly stick, so that's a little bit more than I'm looking to spend on a rod. I don't have the feel for it yet, but
300 to 350 dude, same. They sent us one. We have their BFS, $295. I was like, this is $100 more than I would ever spend on a BFS rod, but we'll be happy to check it out. It is a really, really nice rod. What Josh is talking about at ICAST, they have their updated rods in the butt section are going to have a recessed magnet so that you could then put that onto a track mount piece. It'll sit vertical, but it's like a 10, I think you said 10 to 15 pound magnet. So even if you like bump that rod, it's not really going anywhere. And then they have a leash as well. So it'll clip to your belt, your PFD, and then you can just like magnet whatever rod's in hand at the moment. That way, if you flipped over, it's good to go. It's pretty neat. Again, pricey, but neat. It falls into that category. Right. But it's something you could use. And I'm with you. Extra rod holders. I used to have two behind my seat on the Hobie. Because I had the, and I'm going to be having this again on my Titan X, but the Groovy landing gear from Boondocks. There's a full track, right? Mm-hmm. So on that track, I put two rod holders behind me because I was going to go trolling, but turns out I never troll. I just don't do it. There is a way to troll without those. You can just like tuck the butt of your rod behind your back and just hold it as you paddle or pedal to the next spot, or motor to the next spot, you know? I just don't do it enough. So yeah, to me, totally overrated. I'm not using those things. I'm out. Diggs Outdoors though says underrated. All right. Use mine as an extra hand for when rigging. Hey, you know what? For that, totally get it. Angling one forward. I would say if I'm going to separate these extra rod holders just for whatever reason, I'm out. But a forward facing rod holder, not a forward facing sonar. We wouldn't talk about that here. It's coming up later. But a forward-facing rod holder, I would say totally beneficial. To me, that's underrated. Like, I would love to see that just included on kayaks, though. I wouldn't attach an extra one to do it unless I had to. All kayaks should have that recessed in-hull forward-facing rod holder. It's amazing. The last two kayaks I had that. The Hobie didn't, right? Which is weird. But, like, all Old Towns have that. And then my native Titan X has it. And it's just money. The Shoaly has it, you know, right? I think it does. Yeah. That thing is great just for rod staging or landing a fish. You want to unhook the fish, just setting the rod over there instead of what I've been doing on our rafting trips because the rafts don't have those. I just like lay the rod behind me and it inevitably falls overboard like 9 times out of 10. I almost lost my favorite spinning setup right now. I've got the TFO Taction with the Shimano Nasi on it. So I mean, it's not like a cheap setup, and that fell overboard at the Kayak Adventure Series tournament, and I went in. I was like, nope, not losing that. Arm up to my elbow, like just caught it. I was like, saved the day. So I'm with you though. Like in general, other rod holders, I'm going overrated for sure. What about paddle clips? Taco clip, whatever kind of clip that you attach to your boat.
Like a tether or like where you like roto
grips? So tether I'm gonna put next. So let's go with just the clip.
Okay. I think that's just rated. I think there's times where I'm like, I'm so happy I have this. And then there's other trips where I like don't use it at all. And I'm like, why is this even here? This is just taking up space. Especially on the Shoaly, which is my primary kayak that I fish out of, where it's actually like recessed down.
It's got that spot.
Right. Yep. It's like, that's pretty nice. But also I'm 6 foot and that Shoaly is not necessarily designed for a 6 foot person. So it's like, that's right where I have to have my feet over it, which is like awkward to get my paddle out.
I feel like your pain,
behind
dude.
it, and my knees are like in my chest. And it's like, so dude, I don't end
you know why that is? That's because of Drew.
Yep.
Drew Gregory. Because he's so little. I met Drew in person. I was like, oh, hey, man, what's up? A little shorter than Paul, you guys. But yeah, so Drew, shorter guy, makes total sense that he would design that kayak around that. So I'm with you. I'm 6'1". I sit in that thing. I'm like, I feel like Shaq getting into a convertible or something. Like, I'm just, hey, what's going on? It's a great boat, though. And here's the thing, guys. I'm going to put an NK 300 on there, the Newport, the 3-horse. I'm going to put that on there. Drew has one on his, which is insane. So we'll see how it handles a 6'1", 230-pound guy. But it's going to be fun.
That's going to be insane. That motor is wild.
Yeah, they rip.
That thing is wild. Yeah.
I think depending on how it behaves with my weight, like the Shoaly in like a no current situation, no wind situation, I should be able to get up to 6.5, maybe 7 miles an hour.
I think you'll hit 7, no problem.
It'll be nuts.
I've seen it get up pretty close to that, and a lot less of an efficient craft. So
yeah,
it's a wild thing.
It's gonna be fun. Caro, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be heightist. Yeah, I was just saying, Drew, shorter guy. This is why it's designed for shorter people. All right. So you might love the Sholey. There you go. Caro, do you have a Sholey? I feel like maybe you said that you did. Clips, I'm going rated. Let's go to tethers. So paddle tethers, rod tethers. Do any of y'all tether your equipment? Because I'll be honest, I don't. And I have, like, you have the clips on your crate. The Yak Attack has clips. I had clips on my Hobie. Never used them. That little bungee strap that goes over the rod. Literally, on that black pack, I tuck them down so they're out of the way. I might even just take them off because you can just take them off.
Right.
I just don't use them. What about you?
Well, I will go underrated for the amount of times I would have lost a rod going through trees. It's giving me false confidence though. Like I'm like really like I could just go through these trees and it's going to stay in, and I'm not going to break anything. I swear. And I've gotten really close to breaking some rods or ripping them out and losing them, and that bungee has saved me.
Yeah.
But it's also fair. If I forget to do it and then I go through those trees, that rod goes flying out. Yep. Any other tether gets in the way, makes me frustrated, makes me want to start throwing stuff. So it's got to be like completely retained in the rod holder. I don't like the tether,
the extra
anything.
One, yeah.
Actually, I take that back though. I do have it on my pliers. So when I get that hook out, I can just chuck my pliers.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. And then I don't have to worry about it because they sink very, very fast.
Yeah, no, 100%. I have lost rod combo in the river. Got pulled out by a tree, just like you were talking about. I've just dropped pliers overboard and be like, oh, shoot. It's kind of like when you think you tied on the jig and then you throw the lure over and the jig just sinks. And you're like, oh, no, what have I done? I've done that like 5 times. Like, it's horrible, but that's the deal. So, all right, I might have to go rated with this. I don't use them. I'm glad they exist, and I think they serve a purpose. And maybe if I'm in the river, I'll do that. Usually in the river, we have like a rule, hard and fast rule. We bring 3 combos max. It's like 2 is great, 3 you're pushing it, and they all lay in the front of the boat flat. So that way we can pass by logs, trees, whatever. I never set them up vertically. So it's a little, I kind of treat it that way. If I was doing a tournament in a river, like Kayak Adventure Series, I'd want to have 6 combos though. So that's where I could see that being really beneficial. So I'm glad they exist. I'll go rated. Ramon Outdoors also called out the 2 things, 2 great ideas. Phone tethers. Do you use a phone tether?
I don't. I
don't either.
I have stopped putting it in the crate behind me because then I'm constantly like bringing it around over the water. I just keep it in my life vest.
Same. It lives in the PFD. It comes out to take a pic. It goes immediately back. So it's going like here to here, and I'm happy with that. We're going to test out the Yak Attack one, which comes with a tether. So we'll try it, right? But I have had them. I use the Rogue Fishing Co. I use theirs. They, I think I bought it. I don't think they even sent it to me. I think I just bought it. I was like, I'll try this. Did a test on it, tried it out in the water. It's cool. I just, the tether got in the way of the rod. So if I'm like jerk baits, drop shot, the rod butt kept getting stuck on the tether. I was like, I'm done. I'm not using this. No way. So that, I'll go rated with this. He also mentioned the catch tether, which that is a tether I use. Catch boards, your bump board.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Because catch boards, $60-$70. No, thank you. And when we did the tournament, I was fishing with a couple guys that are viewers on the channel, and one of them lost a catch board first day, overboard, gone. And it's 2-day tournament. So he had to go get another one in order to fish the next day. He had like 3 hours to go get it. It was nuts. So yeah, I'm with you there, Ramon. Catch board, gotta have it. And DeBurley says Rogue Fishing Co. is in Tennessee as well. There you go. Look at that. Tennessee with the accessories. Let's go. All right, moving on. Let's go to Anchor. I know how Paul would be about this. Paul would be here to be controversial. I'm going to give Paul's opinion. You guys ready for it? He's going to say anchors are overrated. Just get a pedal kayak. He's going to say you can position with your paddle. You can position with your pedal. What do you need an anchor for? I will say he stands behind that, though, because none of his boats have anchors on them right now. So, the guy doesn't use them. He had an anchor on his light tackle, too, which had the Newport 180 Pro on it. So he's running a motor on that one. It's not a pedal kayak. Had an anchor there. The anchor kept knocking into the motor. So he would make a turn and it would hit the anchor that's hanging off the stern of the boat. Just clip, clip, clip. So he took it off. He doesn't even use it anymore. But how do you feel about anchors, Josh?
Man, there's some trips where I just, even when it's not that windy, regardless of weather, there's some trips where I end up using them. And I'm like, this is great. And then there's other trips where I'm like, I'm not lowering that thing, and I'm never like, I'm taking it off when I get home. Like, and so I have to. That's hard for me because I really am. I like them less and less every day. I like them.
That's fair.
So, yeah, I'm gonna lean overrated. And that I don't agree with the just go buy a pedal kayak.
Neither do I, and neither does Ramon. Hey, that's not my opinion, you guys. Don't kill the messenger. Paul would say that, all right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's not fair. Maybe he wouldn't say that. I'll take it back for Paul. Because you're right, like pedal kayak, $1,300. Anchor, $30.
Right.
Just get a pedal kayak. Now, I'm sorry on behalf of Paul.
This might be controversial for some people. I will go definitely overrated on the Anchor Wizard.
Ooh,
I don't love that thing. I would almost rather just toss my anchor over by hand. And I think it's just because I've sat there and fought it. And yeah, I think it's overrated on the Anchor Wizard.
Fair enough. Ramon
just get a power pole, right?
Just get a power pole. All right.
Just get a boat.
Everybody just pretend Paul said that. I was speaking on behalf of Paul. I don't believe that. Paul's not here, so he's just victim to my false opinions that he would say. Ramon is just keeping it going. Just get a John boat. Just get a bass boat. All right. I'm going to go with anchors, though. I'm going to go rated. And the reason is, like you said, the windy days. And I actually love having it on the river. I know a lot of guys on the river, a lot of guys and gals, go fish on the river, don't give a heck about an anchor. I personally pick apart spots a lot. So rather than the drive-by, if you're just cruising with the current and you're just casting at spots, and you can plug them doing that. I get hung up on juicy spots and I'm like, I want to stay here. So I love having a drag anchor for that purpose, chains especially. And it just slows me down at the very least, or maybe pins me to that spot and I can fish it for a while. That's why I have them. But I would say most days on the lake, I'm with you. I don't use it. So I'm just going to go rated.
And maybe my opinion will change. I'm going on an actual river float tomorrow with the Rudd. So it should be interesting to see how much I actually use it. Because I most of the time when I'm in the river, I'm like just a little pretty calm section. But this is, I think, actually a real float. So it'll be nice to be able to slow down when I need to.
Yeah. So spring here, if you go on the river, you have to have an anchor and a safe one. It's like power pole's not safe on the river. You'll get stuck. Trust me. I did it. I got stuck with the power pole. Quick release wouldn't even go. And I was just like, what do I do? So I had to turn around. Luckily I was in my Hobie, walk back and manually rip it up and wreck the thing because it wouldn't lift because the current was pushing too hard. So dams are flowing, high water flow, very fast rate of flow. Not safe if you don't have an anchor. You're going to want it. So that's where I'm like, I definitely would have it there. Something to think about. And also somebody called out lighter kayaks. I would also say inflatables. I want to put one on our inflatables because inflatables drift. Mother. Oh my gosh. I was in the eye attack. It's mostly just flat. It has a skeg fin and it has a keel bumper at the front. So you got two little things coming down that help you track. However, when that wind hits, I was just like, and if I stood up, I was a goner. I was toast. So there, that's where I'd be with that. All right. It's funny. The next thing was power pole. I'm going to go overrated on power pole. My Florida folks, we're going to say overrated because every lake I have is a bowl. I can't use it. So I had one for a year and a half, sold it because I couldn't use it. It was ineffective about everywhere I fished in Michigan. Can't use in the river, can't use in a lake that just does this, because like, where are you going to use it? But if you're fishing flats, then I get it. If you guys are fishing flats, it's like where power pole thrives. Fishing flats, you got a ton of those, like down south, my Florida, Louisiana folks. Like, if you don't have a power pole, you're a silly person. You probably should have one at that point. But I'm with you. Overrated for me. Overrated for me. Especially since I had one. Same vein, but like a stakeout, like a pole anchor. So you have like a little tether attachment. You just drive a stake in. Way cheaper version of a power pole.
I think I'll go underrated because that's so much cheaper that you can actually, you don't have to use it and then be like, I'm not using my X dollar power pole. Right. You can just keep it on you. It's easy to take off.
Yeah.
Most of them, I mean, like I'm thinking of, I've seen ones and I've actually designed one where it's just got a hole and it'll actually just fold up and lock in. So it just mounts on your T-track. It just goes in, and then when you're done, you pull it up, flip it over, and it locks in. So you don't even have to pull it all the way out. So I don't have that out yet. We're going to be doing a lot of non-crate accessories in the next 6 months too. So also feedback on those if you have anything you want.
Well, I'll start thinking about that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, underrated. I haven't actually used one, but I feel like I could see a lot of areas where that would be nice to have. Super lightweight, doesn't make anything too burdensome. Yeah,
you like stow it in a clip. Tech rotor grips. The one you're talking about would be like all in one, which I can't wait to see. That'll be sick. But yeah, it's like, it's light. You're not adding extra weight. It's not even really in the way. Just tuck it off to the side. So I'm with you. I'm gonna go underrated. I would pick that over a power pole any day. That way, like the rare occasion I'm in 3 feet of water or 6 feet of water, I can actually use it. Yeah. It's not like validating a power pole in Michigan to me. It just doesn't make sense. And probably not for you either, where you're at. So stakeout pole it is. Love it. How about motors? Let's just start with like a bow mount motor. So the XI3 is the only kayak one really right now. There's more coming, but yeah, that's the one.
Specifically bow mount or just any motor?
We'll go through the other ones in a second. So specifically bow mounted motor. So we're talking like maybe spot lock, maybe not, but usually a remote, right? So we'll count the autopilot too with the Minn Kota. So the Old Town autopilot. And then we got the Motor Guide XI3. Power poles, to me, totally overrated. It's $5K right now, but Power Pole made a 36-inch shaft one that's for kayaks. And maybe some other companies will come out with one and stop letting Motor Guide have all of the wins. It's like, so yeah, how do you feel about bow mount?
I feel like I'm gonna go overrated on this one. I'm not a motor guy, but I'd rather have it off the back.
Yeah.
I think it's not, the bow is just not where I want my motor. Again, I'm in a Crescent Shoaly too, so it's not really,
not a thing.
Not a thing, right? Yeah. But
you gotta be in a big boat. You got to be in a big boat to support that. So it's your natives, your tight necks, the crazy new Bonafide XTR 130 that just dropped that everybody's mad about, things like that. That's where you're going to have the bow mount. Or I don't know if you saw the new Wilderness systems when you were there. Did you look at that?
Yeah, where it's got that notch in the front for that.
The tactical, I think it's a 128. But yeah, having that bow mount at the angle so that you can actually open your hatch.
Right.
Genius.
I want the least amount of stuff in front of me though to get my stuff hung up on or anything. Like that's how I fish. I go bow first, straighten out a bunch of limbs to pull my $2 bait out of it. So the last thing I want is a bunch more crap on the front.
I will say, to me, it's horrible in the river. Like, unless you have a wide, deep stretch of river, which I went through the White River up in Whitehall, Michigan. And it was wider, but it has a lot of like 1 foot deep shallows. And like bow mount motor, my boat would just do this. And I'd be like, oh, and I'd pull that motor up and paddle over it. It definitely has spots where it doesn't excel at all. But I will say, per your point of like, I don't want anything to get hung up on. I thought about that when I got it. I've never had the issue. Like, I'm running baits right in front of it, probably because I'm not running it like you would a bass boat. In a bass boat, you're casting and moving all the time. Right. Because it's a hand remote. You're not doing that in this kayak. You might be trolling. You're going to hit stop. So it's not like it's running. And then the shaft actually sits low enough, like the head of the motor sits low enough that you're not casting into it at all either. I stand and fish a lot though too, and in the shoalie you're not necessarily doing that. So I get it. Seated. Okay. But yeah, I thought it was going to be in the way a lot more to me than it actually is. So for me, I'll go rated on this one. I definitely won't go overrated. I think there's a huge purpose for it where it excels. And then if I go underrated, this is what I want in chat, Chaz. Let's do another vote on this one. So overrated, rated, or underrated bow mount motors. Whether you have one or not, right? Like don't hate on it because you're not planning on getting one. But if you were to consider getting one, how would you feel about it? And then I wouldn't go underrated either. I think a lot of tournament guys are using them now. I think it's becoming more of like, I hate to say standard, but kind of a tournament standard that people are using it. So I think it's definitely getting a lot more popular. But I'll go rated on this one. That's where I'm at. So we'll let chat. You guys can vote on this. And while you're doing that, stern mount motors. So like your NK, even a tiller, just something on the rear of the boat. So any motor, I'm not talking just Newports and Torqeedos, your grandpa's Minn Kota 55-pound thrust that you secured with a 2x4 behind your seat, anything behind you, rear propulsion. How do you feel about that?
I'm going to go rated on that. I think they're really finding their spot now. And I think that they're getting better by the year. And like the Newports, man, they're expensive. Like I'm looking at them. I'm like, I might just go I got a Minn Kota in the garage that I might just go do the 2x4 thing on.
Yep.
But I think that it offers a lot of benefit, but also again, I fish, a lot of bigger water here in Tennessee, bigger river systems and stuff where it's not flowing, and it'd be nice to have, but also I love being able to just throw and go. Like it's so easy for me to just slide that in the back of my pickup without anything additional on it. I can handle it all myself. And the second I add a motor, that goes away. So then it's like, I got to assemble it or, take it off, put it back on, worry about charging the battery. So I'm just going to go rated on it.
I think that's fair. I think a lot of people are seeing them. There's more coming onto the market. The good news about that for me, and I'm already seeing it happen, is that they'll become less expensive. Right. So like batteries, for example, Newport is coming out with better batteries that are less expensive than the current batteries they're using, which is neat to see. Like I love to see that. That said, I will also say like this is accessible to anybody at any price point because you can do the 2x4 mount. If you want to go bare bones, like I have a Minn Kota 55-pound thrust downstairs in my office that my dad gave me that he's had for 35 years. And I could rig that up. I could use that. It'll attach to a 12-volt battery of any sort. Easy peasy, cheapest type of battery, 12 volts. Go get a Power Queen for $200. I got a 100 amp hour 12-volt battery that can run that beast. And there you go. I will also say though, those are way heavier than your Newport Torqeedo. So what you're exchanging for cost is weight a lot of times. I won't say steering capability because you can, and you're a tinkerer, so maybe you should try this with your Minn Kota. You can take that thing apart and you can rig it to foot steering. You can add a foot steering triangle to it, take that top off, and then just have it controlled from there. I saw a couple of YouTube videos where I was like, if we had the time, like I would love to just do some fun DIY projects on the channel, and that would be one of them with that Minn Kota I have. Maybe that's the only way I'm going to end up using it. The thing weighs like 40 pounds. It's so heavy. Right. It's like cast iron on the bottom. It's ridiculous. But all right. So chat has spoken. Chat says bow mount motors, perfectly rated. And then I think, Josh, we're in agreement on the stern motor being rated as well. So motors rated, which I think a couple of years ago, if we asked that question, everybody probably would have said overrated. I think that the perception of motors is kind of changing, especially as some of them become more accessible, which is cool to see too. I want to see kayaks just ripping around the lake, get back at the jet skis, get back at the pontoon polys, have a good time, right? People give you wake, you give them wake right back. That's what I want to see happen. It's going back at you, Polly. All right. So moving on from motors somewhat, how do we feel about foot steering? Because you could just use a tiller. You got push-pull steering. We've got that on our Bixby. You got hand steering. You got rudder steering. Is foot steering overrated, rated, or underrated?
I think there's a lot of room for improvement in foot steering. There's a lot of room for improvement from what I've seen and what I've heard feedback from people. And
Yep.
so I'm gonna go a good foot steering setup is underrated. Is
Ooh,
definitely underrated.
yeah.
Most of what's on the market,
Sucks.
personally, from what I've seen, yeah, sucks and is way
Trash.
overrated, especially for
Yeah.
the systems they have set up for it. I think that there's so
Yeah.
many more ways that we could solve this problem. And I'm looking at those, not that I have a motor yet. So when I do get a motor set up, I'm going to try to figure out a better foot steering system.
Yeah. 100%. I'm with you. Underrated. Chris Hugh agrees. The thing is, I'm glad you brought up they need to improve this thing. They are. So Ramel from Newport co-designed with Bonafide these really cool new like peg style foot
I
steering
saw
options.
that. Yeah.
That thing is sick. And like I used it on the water. So your arch of your foot sits on that. So your heel doesn't drag, which is a major issue with every other foot steering. And instead of plastic sliding on plastic, it's got bearings and rollers.
See,
Like
that's
so
the
it's
direction it needs to go.
really smooth. Yeah, and it's $150 for the whole setup. If you're already investing into like a Newport or Torquedo, it's that right there, totally worth it. You've made the investment, make the investment, make you happy. So those are cool. And then New Canoe dropped their EPS system, which is insane. Did you see that?
I have not. I don't think
So
I've
it's
seen
it's
that.
a
Is that
single.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The single pedal. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like a gas pedal in a car, and its heel goes one way, toe goes the other way, right? It turns so much sharper, like it has more range than this type of foot steering, the back and forth does, and it's faster, right? So that we are getting that on a I didn't tell you guys this yet. We're gonna get a U10, a New Canoe U10, and we're gonna get it rigged out as we're just gonna like borrow it from our favorite dealer up in Whitehall, Water Dog. So we're going up there in September. Hopefully, we'll get to demo an XTR 130, do a paddle test on it. If they have it in stock at the time, that's going to be tough, but we're going to try. Not buying it. I don't want that boat. It is really cool, but I don't want it. But we want to like do a demo day, test out a bunch of different kayaks. The U10 though, we would be going home with, and then we're going to set up Paul's Newport on it, and Paul and I are going to go back and forth using that one. So that system is killer. Between those two, I would say like the old foot slides need to just go. They need to like,
Right.
I don't even think they really have a place anymore, because those systems are just infinitely better for like $100 more. Like I'm spending that $100 10 times out of 10. It's, I mean, you paid for a motor, like just do the thing. So yeah, foot steering underrated, because my gosh, it's so much better than rudder, hand steering, tiller steering. I will say, like, have you used a push pull system? So it's like a pull steering, but it's got just a little right angle arm that comes off of your motor, attaches to a broom handle. Like I just bought a broom handle at Menards to use for this. We use this with our Bixby. Pull it forward, it goes one direction. Push it back, it goes the other direction. It's responsive. It's really easy to use, and the movement's so minimal. I like that a lot. However, one hand has now got a job to do, and you can't, necessarily cast and catch fish with the other hand. So foot steering's nice because you can maneuver around spots while casting. I like that.
I'd love to see one that actually the foot pedal has electronics in it. I don't know how any of this works, a potentiometer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Where it would actually run a cable back to your motor, which would have a separate motor on it for steering, where you're not like having to deal with the wireless stuff, but you're not having to run with cables that are rubbing on stuff and slowly sawing through your kayak.
That's an insanely awesome idea. I love that idea. Like just
It's like so simple.
steering.
Like just just
Well, you say that. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
don't you tell me that's simple. I don't buy it. That sounds awesome though. Like that would be
like something like that would be awesome. And
yeah.
If I was an electronics guy, not just a metal and plastic guy, I'd try to figure that out. But
yeah,
maybe I can try to get in touch with someone and do that. That'd be really cool.
We need like a robotics engineer or
Right.
like
Right.
any
Yeah.
a mechanical engineer of some sort. But yeah, would be so freaking cool because it solves like a huge problem. Because yeah, running those lines, if they're not pre-tapped holes, and it's a hole in your hull, right? So there's a
Right.
chance you get water in there, even with the little narrow openings. Yeah, it's a huge pain in the butt. I've rigged 2 or 3 kayaks now for foot steering, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I'm gonna rig another one. The Sholey, which I believe luckily has it has a spot for it, but you have to tap the hole, so it's not pre-tapped. So we'll be doing that. Fun. But yeah, all right. So moving off of motors, let's go to everybody's favorite subject: fish finders. How you feel about it? I didn't say live scope. Fish finder.
Fish finder.
Basic sonar, maybe just downscan. I don't know. Maybe it's the My Fishing Buddy from 1982 or whatever year that one came out. How do we feel about fish finders?
So I don't fish with one. I don't have any electronics besides my GoPro and my cell phone on my kayak right now. I don't know if I'll change that. I think that's one of the even if I get a motor, I think that I will keep the electronics very, very basic. Maybe I've seen like the castable sonar thing that gives you depth and temperature and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
I could see a huge benefit to being able to see the depth, water temperature, all that stuff, and know
yeah.
that really quickly. But I'm going to go rated on them. I think that they're very useful, and I think that they're great to get all that information that you need. Personally, I'm just going to keep staying away from them for now. I feel like, again, it's one more thing to run wires for, to get my way, to make my setup not as throw and go.
Yeah, no, 100%. Is my battery charged? Did I bring my battery? Did I put it in the boat? Because I've gone out and like, I forgot that thing that's really important. Yeah, it's a lot of every time you add something to the boat, it's something else to remember. And if it needs to be charged, it's something else to remember. So I hear you there. I've used boats with, boats without, boats forward-facing sonar, boats with not forward-facing sonar. I would say there's a huge benefit to me of like what DeBurley said here. Depth, your topographic, like what's the cover like here, your water temp. I can't tell you how many times I have fished a spot where I'm like, this is deep. And really it was just murky. And it was like 6 inches deep and I'm fishing a puddle, especially on the river. There's lots of spots on the river like that. You think it's just a little still water pool and it's 6 inches deep. Like, dang it, I just can't see through. So side scan could have saved my life on that. I'm going to go rated. Just because whenever I fish without it, I still have a great time. I still catch fish and you'll learn a lot that way too. So I think it's beneficial to do both. But while we're on the subject, let's go forward-facing sonar. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I still don't know because I've never used it, and I don't like I don't like what it turns fishing into. Like watching like professional fishing and they're just staring at a screen is not as fun to watch, right? But I do understand that it's a skill set to use that and that it's still not just like automatic. Like there's a fish, I caught the fish. There's still a lot to learn. You have to learn how to use that. It's a whole other thing. I'll just go rated. I got to play it a little safe there. I got to play a little safe.
Play it safe.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to go with DeBurley here. DeBurley, and I will answer this with a new product, but DeBurley goes overpriced, not overrated.
There we go.
I feel like half the people who hate on FFS, I'm not saying everybody, somebody out there, you guys got legitimate reasons. I get it. It's fine. There's two sides to every argument on these. It's because of the price point, and I agree. It's very expensive. Very expensive was. Now, I don't know how good the Eagle Eye is that just dropped from Lowrance, but it's $1,000 for the full setup, right? If it starts to become more accessible, I think that not everybody, but some of that like 50% of the hater crowd might change their viewpoint on it a little bit, which is interesting to think about. And we'll see how it turns out. And again, I don't know how well that thing performs. I'm not going to sit here and say, go buy that thing. We are going to buy that, you guys. We will get a Lowrance Eagle Eye just so we can like test it out. and see what it's all about. I know some people are putting up videos about it right now too, so you can check those out. I'm gonna go rated as well. I too will play safe on this one because I know some people vehemently hate it and some people are like all about it. When I don't use it, I still have fun. So that, to me, I got to go rated with it, right? Because there are times though where it's saved my day, or it's like in Alabama. I don't know what I was doing in Alabama last year at that tournament, and because of forward facing sonar, I learned how to fish an Alabama rig for the first time, and I caught dozens and dozens of fish on it. So I got on the board because of that, and I was like, hell yeah, way to go forward facing. So it was fun for that. All right, let's do a couple rapid fire ones. We're getting into like the nitty gritty accessories here. I think I already covered that. Let's go with trash bin or trash bag.
Underrated.
Dude, I'm with you. Like how many of you guys have a trash bin and trash bag on your boat? I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, where are all those little bits of line going? You know, they
in the back of my
boat. Back of the boat, in the water.
Oh, I'm with you. Hopefully in the boat, but you're right.
Yeah.
Probably in the water.
Even if they go on your boat, on your deck, they're probably going to end up in the water. So trash bin, completely underrated. It keeps everything cleaner, keeps your water cleaner. It's completely underrated. Please start using one.
100%. If everybody on here used one, there'd be like cleaner waters around you guys. That'd be great. And then you could spread the word. I hate when people leave their trash behind. It's like my biggest pet peeve. I roll up on a spot, I pick that stuff up. I know you do too. Like, it's like you see something in the water just floating around. You're like, okay, really? Gatorade bottle. Cool. I'll pee in that later. And then it goes in the boat. I'm going to use that, or cans. I've always on my lake, man, or any lake where they party, you're always finding beer cans, bottles. Like, oh my gosh, come on, guys. Like, I'll go to a sandbar at one of the lakes down here, and there's like Corona bottles in there. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, kids play in the water here. Why? Why would you do that? But line, especially. How many times have you rolled up bank fishing and there's braided line just like wrapped around a tree?
Oh my gosh. It's just
freaking worse.
Anywhere there's especially here around Knoxville, anywhere that there's access to water from the bank is just a bunch of line and crappie jigs. Just
and worm containers.
Worm containers, beer cans. Yeah.
Yep.
Yum dinger bags. It's all over the place.
The old Bubba and his boys were hanging out, having a night, and they left every single Miller Latte can just hanging about with their worm plastics. Yeah. It's a super annoying. Having even just a grocery bag that you just tie to the back of your seat, you just throw stuff in there. Cheap and easy, man. Easiest way to do it. I'm going underrated too. I like it. How about cup holders? You make cup holders.
I make cup holders.
Underrated as heck. When I see a kayak without a cup holder, I'm like, I would never buy that kayak. Yes, you can attach a cup holder, but the thought didn't go into that. That's a problem with me.
So I'm just gonna go rated on them because I've heard the good point of some people, and I might be one of those people, sometimes bring really, really big water bottles that are like the 128 ounce, like giant water bottles.
Those gallons,
the half gallon, the huge water bottles.
Yeah.
And it's like, those are never going to fit in a cup holder. So why do I need one? But also, it is so nice. Like right now, the way I fish, I have 2 cup holders on my crate, and I got one that's got a liquid IV in it, and another one that's just normal water when I don't want to taste liquid IV because it doesn't usually taste very good. Nope. So perfectly rated. You don't always need one, but I think that a lot more people should have them.
It's a Burley. Cup holders are the Leatherman of kayak storage. That's
true. Ours is actually designed to be able to fit a spinning reel in it. Super easy. So the slot, the slot fits a spinning reel perfectly, or like a little coffee mug. That's
awesome. I love it. And then yours has are those clips on the bot, like something you can clip to, little tether points on that one? There's holes in it.
And so that's just so you can get a screw below it, so you don't snap.
Screw below it. Got it.
You can run a bungee through it though. It's just so you can fit the Allen key in, and it's easy to get to.
Yep, 100%. Got it. I have. My goal is 2 or 3 cup holders on every kayak I have. That's we did an order with Yakutech, and I was like, Paul, how many cup holders do we need? And we ordered 7.
Oh my gosh.
Because every boat needs a bunch of them, man. I always bring 3 or 4 drinks. The last thing I want to do is be dehydrated on the water. But one of those would be an energy drink that it's a can. I don't want it sitting around in the boat. It goes in the cup holder. And I got this in one, and then I got my extra water, which that is like a big canteen. So that can just sit behind me. So like 2, I like having 2. And then if you had an extra one, you can throw a bunch of baits in it if you want to. There you go. Cup holders. What about spare line? Bring like a leader line, extra braid, anything like that with you?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do. It's just peace of mind, because I am not very good with a bait caster. I bird's nest it a lot. And instead of sitting there and pulling it all off, I cut it off, throw it in my dump bin, not the water, and respool. So underrated. I don't know how common that is for people to bring it, but I definitely do. And I always bring a pen or pencil to hold between my toes too, so I can reel it on nice and easy. I should actually just I know there's 3D printed files out there for spoolers. I should just go and print one.
Yeah, you should make a track mounted one.
There we go.
Use that. Just saying, you guys. Just saying. Dude, just imagine having like a couple spools just bound up on the track. You just reel it off.
Is it Railblazer that makes one that's meant for bass boats that just like mounts? I think they make one. Yeah. Someone out there makes one that is like meant to mount on the inside of the hatches on bass boats, and it keeps all your line organized and super handy.
Love it. I love that idea. We're picking up the Evolution tackle, just came out this year at ICAST. I don't know if you went to their booth, but they have their new like line bag. It's pretty compact. I think they have like a 3 and a 5, maybe like a 7 spool option. And then, I mean, that's pretty cool. And it's got the little feeder line through it. So you keep it closed, just grab the line, pull off as much as you need. We use a lot of leader, fluorocarbon leader. So I do like having extra spools of that, because after you cut off 15 lures because you couldn't figure it out for the day, you're out of leader line. You need a new like 2, 3, 4 foot section of leader line for that thing. So I'm going underrated too. I don't know if enough people are bringing that with them. We talked about that and that. What about, okay, so this is an interesting category, covers, right? So bait covers, swim bait covers, like the little sleeve you just Velcro on there. Cast King just came out with the bait chamber, a little plastic chamber you clip around that. So when not in use, it just like hooks onto your reel and that. How do we feel about those?
So I'm probably one of the people that could use it the most, because I always end up with trebles hooked in everything. If I get off
sleeves.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. If I get off the water without a lure stuck in the handle of my shoalie, it's a miracle. Yeah, it's great. So I definitely need them, and I think that they're definitely underrated. I wish, and I think I'm just wishing for the impossible. I wish there was a way to have those, and for that to not have to deal with them afterwards, like taking them off and then finding a place to put them, and because that's how everything goes. Oh, I'm just going to take this off. I'll definitely put it back on, and then you see a fish jump, and you grab a different rod, and then it's just sitting on the floor of your kayak. So I'm going to go underrated on them, but I think I'm wishing for the impossible, and that there's a way that they just magically disappear and reappear.
Yeah. So that's where you use your little bin that you have. Like the bait graveyard bin holds the single bait chamber at a time.
It really could.
I'm with Ramon was talking about trebles and transport. The triple threat right there. It's such a pain. I can't tell you how many times I had to dig a treble out of my freaking truck seats. It's so annoying. Or like the jerk bait grabs 3 other lines from the other rods, because I'll take 6, 7 rods and just put them in my passenger seat and lean them back. They get so tangled up. So for that, I'm going underrated. I feel I don't use them and I need to. So we're definitely going to pick up some and give those a whirl. Some people need to use. Rod socks. Do you cover the rod? We have
no, I don't. I'll go a little bit overrated on that. It depends. For tournament guys, I think that they're so valuable. I think they're so valuable and underrated. For a casual angler like myself, where I'm just taking a couple of rods out, I think they're overrated, especially with, again, this is all off of my experience with the shoalie. I can keep my rods just on the top, strap it down with the strap up front, and I'm good to go. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about treble hooks on my car seats.
Yep.
It's all just intermingling with itself. So I don't have to worry about rod socks or anything.
Right.
I think I'm good to go without them. So
yeah, I'd say overrated because I am a product abuser on purpose. So I'm kind of mean to all the products that we get. I don't really care if the rod gets banged up. I also am not fishing with like Poison Adrena from Shimano or anything like that. If I had one of those, if I had a Megabass Destroyer, I would rod sock that sucker in a second. The moment I got it, it would get rod sock. It would never see the light of day unless it was casting. But for the type of combos that I'm using all day, rod socks are overrated. I have them. I actually have like 40 of them in my basement from who's that jig company that sent us a bunch of jigs? No, Seth Fighters jig Outcast. Oh my god, my brain fell apart for a second. Outcast jigs. They're just the basic rod socks, but I have a million of them. I'm not using them. We give them away on our members live. I'm like, you're getting baits. You might get a reel or something. You're getting rod socks because I have too many. So here you go. And I'm not using them. The neoprene ones, I mean, they're nice, and they don't catch hooks as well. So it's easier. Like that woven fiber ones. If you get a hook in that, it's done. Throw it away. But the neoprenes, they'll hold up longer. They're also a bit pricier. I'm not spending $20-$30 on a thing I don't want to use. So I'm out. Same thing with reel covers. What do you feel about reel covers?
I don't use them.
No,
no, not at all.
What's like the fanciest reel you have?
Abu Garcia Black Max. So we're talking. I'm a budget guy.
It's meant to be gritty, dirty, scratched up. If your Black Max isn't trashed, you're not using it properly. So I'm with you, man. Even at that. We've been lucky enough to have like some pretty nice reels sent to us. I just bought you guys the Daiwa Tatula SV, the new one, with the Speed Boost. I just got the thing. Give me a break. But their new spool in there. Their reel's insane. $220. It's like I don't spend that kind of money on reels normally. I picked this one up because Daiwa's not sending me a reel. But then we get like Cast King MG12. Cast King sent us one of those. They're nice reels. I'm not covering it up still. Like, again, I've already stated I'm a product abuser. I'm going to beat the tar out of my reels. I don't care if they get scuffed up. I got the Revo SX, the shallow spool last year before that Alabama tournament. It got so banged up on the drive down, like day one, just scuffed to all heck. I was like, oh, oops. But it is what it is. Like, we're fishing. We're just having fun, man. I'm overrated as heck on reel covers for sure. And it looks like chat's pretty much there with us. They were more against us on the I think the rod socks, and and that's okay. Like, I totally get it, man. If you want to protect your investment, which you should, like it's an investment. If you got some nice rods, you want to take care of them. I'm not saying it's wrong. Just for me, I'm saying overrated.
Or a lot. Right. If you have a lot of them, great.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I don't use a lot, so it's like, why add more crap that I got to carry?
Yeah, if you're taking it's like over 6 combos. That's right. Where if you're driving and they're all together, like all those line guys are just constantly knocking into each other. Like, yeah, okay. And I just let that happen, but like maybe I shouldn't. So I hear you guys. I totally hear you guys. Okay. So I wanted to ask you about this one. Did you see the BKK OCD terminal box at ICAST?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So it won an award, and it is a $300 terminal tackle box, like tackle tray. Technically, it's like not very tall. It's about the size of a 3700 size box. It has what looks like little Game Boy cartridges that go into it. They're little plastic containers for each and every type of hook and size. How do you feel about that product?
How much did you say it was?
$300 if you get it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Every cartridge in there is $5.
That's wild. That is. Oh wait, no. I did see that. That thing was insane. Okay,
right?
I remember now. I'm like going through my mind. ICAST is like a blur for me because I went there to like try to talk to people, and that's so out of my comfort zone. I'm like going out there. I'm like, hey, I made a crate, but I didn't have the money to show here. So do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. That's tough. I've done that run more power to you for doing it. I know that's hard. For me, I'm a reluctant extrovert. So if you put me into a spot where it's like a bunch of people, I'll be like, yay. And then my battery will drain and then I get mad and leave. But I can hang for the day. But if you're like, hey, do you want to go to this party? I'm like, no, thank you. I'll stay at home, please. So I feel it. It takes a lot. And I work in sales. So like I have to put that on all the time. I know what you're going through, man. But yeah, so you saw this product. What were your thoughts on that?
So if you're in the market to spend $300 on something like that, I'm sure that is underrated. I'm sure that thing is phenomenal. Same with you could put my crate in something like that. Like if you are in the market to buy a top of the line crate, it's phenomenal. If you are in most people's market where you want to get the cheapest Plano boxes and you want to use the milk crate, like way overrated. But for tournament anglers, people that make a living doing this, or just really this is like their thing, like it's got to be underrated. Like having something like that is it's so organized, it's so nice, but it does seem expensive for what it is still.
A bunch of hooks and weights. Yeah, it's insane. Paul and I had this idea back in the day when like fishing subscription boxes were hot and they're not as much anymore. For the boring box, it was a box of terminal.
I would get that one.
Right? Like, dude, we pitched it to Rick at Monster Bass and he was like, no. And we're like, hey, I get it. Like the idea is so obvious. It's like, how often do we run out of hooks? / how mad are we? This is how we pitched it to Rick. How mad are we when we get our fishing subscription box that's $37 a month and there's friggin' hooks in it? I'm like, come on, man. Give me baits. I don't want hooks. This is boring. So we're like, make a boring box. And the boring box is like $15-20 and it's full of hooks and weights. So anyways, that went nowhere, but BKK ran with it and they're like, we're going to make the most expensive boring box you can make, $300 friggin'. I get it. It's full of terminal. That is fully loaded. It's not just the box.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought it was just the box. I was like, that's ridiculous. That makes a little bit more sense.
Okay, good. I was $300 for just a tackle box.
Yeah. No, that's why I was like, that's wild.
Yeah.
No, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But it still seems like a lot. Like, and I guess it has everything you need, but
they're BKK hooks. It includes every single type of hook. If you had zero, here's the problem. The reason it's going to be a challenge for them on the market is because if I already have 1 million hooks, why would I buy a box of 1 million hooks? What am I going to do with all my other hooks? Right. So I don't know how much it is empty. I know that all I saw was the 300 for the fully loaded. And then I saw $5 for each of the little cartridges. So I don't know, man. Nifty idea. Need to see that price point change 100%. I could see that tackle box going for like $7,500. Maybe more people would buy it if it was empty and you already had the hooks. That's if you know which one of your hooks are 5/0, 4/0, and 3/0, because mine are all mixed up and I have no idea sometimes. This one looks right. Let's throw that one. So yeah, it's interesting. I would say terminal boxes in general, just having a box dedicated to terminal is rated though for me, not the BKK, just like your standard terminal box, if not underrated. So I don't know if it's not everybody uses them. I have 2 terminal boxes that I always bring every single trip, and one's finesse and one is heavy duty stuff. And it's just a game changer having those on the kayak. Because if I want to switch up to Texas rig, I just grab my terminal box. I know where everything is. Definitely. And I would take that over a hook wallet any day, because hook wallets are annoying to me. Just super thick. Like, where am I putting this thing? All right. So I wanted to address this right here. Infurious Coffee. Love the name. And I love your little platypus in a hoodie logo there. It's cool. Something that's never been explained to me. Why would you ever go out of your way to buy a Yak Attack boxes at 125 to 175? Because 13 by 13 is the cheapest at 125. 16 by 16, it's $175. They're legit just boxes. I love that. You know what? I'm here for what you're saying, and I'll also say this: milk crates work. Milk crates are great. They're super cheap. I had a milk crate box that I built. I've had an H crate. I've had a Wilderness Systems. I've had the Flambeau. I've had yours. I've had the Black Pack. I think I'm kind of with you on the price point with the black pack. I would love to see it be a little less expensive than it is. Because right, it's just a box. It is really modular. There's a lot of accessories you can put on it. I do like having it. I've liked having the Source Krate and I've liked having the Wilderness. Those are like my top three. And Paul just picked up the Flambeau. We haven't, well, he's used it like once or twice. I haven't used that thing before. But for me, that one's basically just a milk crate. These other ones I feel like yours, Wilderness, Yak Attack, like they're all kind of bringing their own different value proposition. So the answer is it depends. The answer is it depends on how much you want to rig it out, how many accessories you want to add to it. And if like you don't care about the accessories, that's why it doesn't make sense. Because you're like, I just need a box to hold things. If you don't want to put accessories on it, why would you buy it? You're right. Why would you buy it? I wouldn't, but it's because I want to put everything in my kayak on that box that immediately comes out. That's why I would buy it, me personally. And then, yeah, same with like Source Krate. You can modular it up to the wazoo, like do whatever you want with it. And when you're done, the whole dang thing just comes out of your kayak. And then it's light and you can carry it or drag it to wherever you need to go. So
yeah, throw it down a hill. Yeah.
Or throw it down, roll it, not with your stuff in it, but like roll it downhill if you want to. Man, it's So that, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question. The answer is it depends. The funny thing about a lot of the arguments we get into in comments, I won't even really call them arguments because they're one-sided. Like we're trying to stay level-headed and say, this is how we feel about something. And somebody on the internet's so angry for no reason about something. I'm like, what happened? I don't know. Maybe they spilled coffee on their pants that day. I don't know what happened to you. Who hurt you? Why are you so mad? But people come in storming into the comments. They're like, wow, I would never buy that. I would never buy this. The funny thing is, and I'm not saying in Furious Coffee, I'm not saying you were angry about this. Apologize if you make that reference. I'm talking about other people on the internet. The funny thing is, it's like, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to like it. Like, it's not even for you. If you're looking at this and it gets you that mad, it wasn't made for you. And that's okay. But I can guarantee you it was made for someone and they're stoked about it. The XTR, the Bonafide, that giant boat that everyone was so mad about. Like, dude, it's not for you. They didn't make it for you. But there are a ton of kayak fishermen and women that I know that are like, hell yeah, the XTR is amazing. I can't wait to pick that thing up.
Right. I've seen so many people be like, oh, I'm going to take my kid out on it. And it's like, that's great. That's like what it's for.
It's two-person kayak, man. It's very comfortable two-person kayak. So, dude, some people just want that. And you're going to hear a lot of like people who like, there's two guys that work for Bonafide that we know, like Georgia Bassmaster. And then, man, I forget the other guy's name. He does all their demos for like Native and Bonafide. Anyways, like they'll chirp about it. And they're like, dude, it's not for you. Like, it's something we love. You don't have to like it. And I'm fully in agreement with that. That's how everything works. Like, you don't have to like everything. That's okay. Not everything's for you. It's for other people. So, yeah. All right. So, in Furious Coffee replies, I've just been trying to justify buying one for a solid month or two now. And it basically keeps coming down to it's cheaper if I'd buy 12 of them just because. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm with you. Like, if you're legitimately on a budget when you're trying to put something together, all you need right now is a box to carry your tackle. So just use a milk crate. And then when you get tired of that, the investment becomes worth it to you. Like, that's what I did. Start with the thing you can afford until you're like, man, I wish this did more. And all of a sudden the investment of 125, 170 bucks, whatever it is, if you're buying that or if you're buying something else, makes sense. You're like, oh, if I had this, my life would be easier. And that's when you upgrade and then you feel better about it. So if you're in turmoil right now in Furious Coffee, I would just use whatever you want to use. Use a milk crate, whatever works. And then eventually you'll be like, I wish this was better. And then you'll feel good about your purchase. So just wait. don't get it right now.
Coming from the crate guy, like if you don't, it's a crate at the end of the day. Truly, it is a crate. If you want to mount a ton of crap to it, the Black Pack and the Source Krate are great for that. If you want to hold a couple of Plano boxes and maybe one rod holder, like you can go the milk crate route. You can go nothing. Like you can figure it out. Like it's really not that life changing unless you have a ton of stuff. or like really want your stuff organized a specific way.
Yep. 100%. There's a way I make decisions, you guys, and if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So if you've been thinking about it for a month, that's not a hell yes, my friend.
Right.
It's a hell no. Just hold off. It'll be fine. And use something else. Basically, it's paying for the ability to modify. Yeah, because like you can modify milk crate. Nobody's saying you can't. You definitely can. Go to Walmart. You get they're meant for boats, but you get the rod holders there. They have singles. They have 3-packs that are attached, and you just zip tie them. Just zip tie it to the crate. And
right.
There you go. Just do that for now. But when you want to mount things at every different angle you possibly could with a higher quality accessory and more accessories than you can buy in the Walmart boat aisle, that's when you're like, okay, like maybe it makes sense to make that bigger investment for the
exactly. Exactly.
So,
when you want it to fit your needs perfectly.
Yeah. That's it. It's more customized to you, customized and personalized. You can do that more easily with that. All right. So moving on, we're going to rapid fire out the rest of these. No explanation. Overrated, underrated, or rated.
Okay.
All right. Sunscreen.
Underrated.
I agree. How many times you got fried on the water? Paul did the other day. I was like,
still almost every time because I don't listen to my wife.
Apply before you leave.
Like,
yeah. Or if you're on a long day, you got to reapply. Nobody thinks about that. They're like, sunscreen.
Exactly.
They never reapply. All right. Hat.
Underrated. But
underrated.
Baseball cap. Overrated. Sorry, Jeff.
What kind of hat?
Like a big sun hat, like straw hat.
Oh,
yeah. Underrated.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I like your style, man. I'm with it. All right. I'm gonna go rated because I feel like most fishing peoples wear a hat anyways. It's kind of a standard. Like, how many of us want a sunburn on our skull? Not fun. Sunglasses.
Underrated. Every time I go without them, I'm like, I really wish I had.
You're like, what have I done?
What have I done? Yeah.
It's one of the things where if I forget it, I'm like, I'm going back. Like, I'm not gonna fish today. I will go back and get it. I know some folks don't fish with like sunglasses. I'm like, what? How? I don't understand. My eyes are real sensitive to light though. So
I only don't because I flipped my kayak and lost them, and I still need to buy another pair in their prescription. So it's not like, oh, go down and get a $5 pair. Like,
I've had turmoil with sunglasses in the past. My first dog ate a pair of Oakleys, and then, which was awesome. And then on a river trip, I wasn't even in a boat. I was on the shore, and I just like was hanging out, and they fell off my face somehow, and then they just disappeared in like a foot of water. So I feel you, and yet I still don't wear tethers for my sunglasses. I have like 6 pairs of cables, whatever that brand is. Like 6 pairs of those. Never use them. Never gonna. So whatever. All right. Gloves. Now you bring leather gloves. You made a good point with the leather gloves of like protecting your hands when you're like moving brush or dealing with lines and all that stuff. So I hear you there. And my saltwater guys, if you're dealing with like super heavy line that's getting stripped off by a 1,000-pound beast out there, it makes sense. But I'm just talking standard sun gloves. How do you feel about those?
Standard sun gloves?
Yeah, the fingerless, the fish monkeys. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'll just go overrated. I just don't. Yeah, I feel like I like to be able to feel when I need to feel, and then I like to be able to throw my leathers on and get into the heavy stuff when I have to.
Dude, 100%. I'm going overrated. I've had 4 or 5 pairs that we've either picked up or got sent to us. Like, I think Rick sent us a couple different pairs over the years. We were with Monster Bass. It's like, hey, try this out. Should we put this in a box? And he never did because we were like, yo, nobody wants accessories. Just pack baits. Please don't do anything else. So he didn't. But whenever I've worn them, I'm like, why am I wearing these? And then they get all wet, and then my hands are soggy the rest of the day. Right. Nope, overrated. Crocs. Specifically Crocs.
I don't like the way they squeak. It drives me nuts. I can't stand the Croc squeak. So overrated.
That's only walking from your vehicle to your vessel.
It's even like the moving around in my car. Okay. I can't do it. I got these like Columbia water shoes, like half off because they're on clearance. All the logos and everything fell off the first day. It's like, these are junk, but they're super comfortable, super grippy, and they don't squeak that bad. So it's like, that's the way I go.
Fair enough.
And it gives me a very weird tan line.
Oh, I have the weirdest tan line on my feet because I've been wearing these. I have the Merrell Hydro Mocs. They're just like a narrower Croc. And yeah, I have cheetah print on my feet. It's so freaking weird. So I'm with you there. I'll go. Listen, I know people are making the idiocracy comments in here. I hear you. The Croc tan is a thing. Okay, come on. All right. I might be leaning towards overrated at this point because of water shoes, only because of how far water shoes have come. So we got the cross kicks. Cross kicks are neat. Paul wears his like every trip now. So Paul has ditched Crocs in the case of being in the boat. They're more like the casual at home wear at this point. But he used to be like all in on Crocs. So seeing Paul not wear them, it's telling me they're leaning towards overrated at this point. And I'm kind of in that boat too. I'm looking to get the Under Armour just came out with some new water shoes that are pretty sick. Under say they were 80 or 90 bucks. So I mean, not cheap, a little cheaper than the cross kicks, which are 120, the ones that we have. But they're like shoes. Like you could just wear them as shoes, very comfortable. And these Under Armour ones are supposed to dry a lot faster. So hopefully get my hands on those. Those types of water shoes, I'd say underrated. Because now that I've had access to some, yeah, you feel the same way. Because I mean, that's what you wear,
right?
What ones are you wearing? What water shoes?
They're Columbia something. They were on. They were like $30 on sale, so they're pretty budget friendly. And they don't dry very quick, but they're better than like my wading boots for grip. Like it's nice. Impressive. Yeah.
That's the other thing is the grip. So Crocs they lean towards overrated because on a boat ramp, like with all the slime and algae, dude, I have fallen on my face like 3 times trying to load a kayak because I'm doing like the big heavy kayak, lift it up, push it in, and I'm like sliding. It's like push. So I'll go with all right, fine, overrated, whatever. All right, and Anna Longfield, we talked about this. Yeah, isn't that like where you're from or near where you're at? Is it the Kilchis? I'm gonna spell it wrong or say it wrong. I gotta spell it wrong. I'm not spelling it right now, but yeah, that's the one we're talking about. The Under Armour, those 2.0s. That's what I want to get. Those things are sick. All right, going to bug spray.
Honestly, overrated. I just wipe down my legs with water if I am worried about bugs, and that seems to work. Yeah. Also, I think my sunscreen seems to do it enough. And I'm always around mosquitoes on the lake, and I really don't get bit that much. At home, underrated. I need it all the time at home. But I live in the woods. I'm out in the woods right now, and at home, underrated. Funny thing is, I still don't use it. I haven't used bug spray in like 4 years. I'm going camping this weekend. We'll see if I bust it out, but typically I just don't. Thermocell. Get a Thermocell.
I have one. I was digging through my camping gear and I was like, oh yeah, I got this thing. So we got the Thermocell. I'll have that out on the table, so we should be good. But yeah, I haven't like used bug spray in maybe 4 years. So I'm totally overrated on it now. I'm out. Snacks, boat snacks.
Underrated.
Totally underrated.
Always got to have the snacks, man. It's half my crate. It's the entirety of my wife's crate when we go out. It's snacks.
Snack lady.
It's the full family-sized bag of chips that we can share. Like it's completely underrated.
Nothing will turn around a fishing day like a good snack.
Yeah, so like Baby Bell, some pepperoni. Yeah.
Dude, you're going all out. I love it. A little charcuterie tray on the water.
There we go. Yeah.
Let's go.
I have Baby Bell wax melted in the bottom of my dump bin. So that's it. That's it stays there. Yeah.
Dude, my dog used to eat that. And then I'd get like the Baby Bell, like the red wax, like in the doo-doo. I'm like, dude, come on. Oh, man. But yeah, so snacks for sure. I put a lot more thought into my snacks these days. I'm like, you know what? It's hot out today. It's gonna be tough. Like let's get some good stuff in the mix. Something yummy. Make a good sandwich. Good sandwich to me goes so far.
Oh yeah,
I love it. All right, seat cushions, kayak seat cushions.
So we were talking earlier about Drew being the guy that designed the Shoaly and it being meant for small people, and I do not have a seat cushion yet, and I'm gonna go underrated because man, my back hurts a lot of days because I don't have anything. And I'm thinking about it. I was like, this was designed for someone a lot smaller than me, and I really need a seat cushion.
Yeah, 100%. I'm thinking about getting a kayak cushion. I've been on the fence about it forever. So to my coffee friend back in chat here. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So the reason I haven't pulled the trigger on it, because I'm not like, I absolutely have to have this. I will say it's an interesting thing to think about, because you get a kayak, it comes with a seat. That's the seat you got. Like, you don't get another seat. You don't buy an upgraded seat. It's kind of like a car seat. Like, I mean, unless you mod your vehicle, you're stuck with the seat that you have. So when I test a truck, I'm like, oh, this seat's uncomfortable. I'm not buying this truck.
Exactly.
Because I have to drive in this thing. Same with the kayak. So yeah, I mean, you can fix that. You could get a $15, $20 Amazon one. I haven't tried any of those yet. So we might grab one of those too, just to see how it goes. There's a few out there. Like Kayak Cushion has the lumbar support too. So you get the lumbar, and like, dude, that'll completely change your day when you're comfortable, when you don't think about discomfort of your back while you're fishing. Because I'm with you. Like, if I have a bad kayak seat, that day's trashed. That day is, I'm not gonna have fun. I'm gonna get out and just be like, all right, let's go. Like, this is the worst. So I do like a comfy seat. And if you don't have one on a kayak and you like your kayak, get a cushion. I'm with it. I'm gonna go underrated for sure. I think I need one. I'm gonna get one soon. Wheels for your kayak, a cart, a scupper wheels, Boondocks landing gear, the track mounted wheels. How do we feel?
Anything big with a motor, fancy setup, Hobie, underrated. Anything light, like a Shoaly, budget kayaks, anything lightweight like that. Even like I think new canoes are pretty light, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're not too terrible. Yeah, so anything like that, overrated. More crap to carry. So throw and go, overrated. Heavy, decked out kayak, underrated.
Yeah, rated. Rated. Yeah, we'll go rated on that. I totally agree. I feel like with my Hobie, I loved having the landing gear on there because I could load it up. I don't have to like fight people at the ramp. I can just roll in, dip out. I'm good. I don't use them on my Titan X. I'm trying to get a pair of landing gear right now with Boondocks, and I probably will end up having those come in. I'll put that on there, but I've used it for months now with no wheels. So I just back down the ramp, I load it into the water, and I just set up right there, and it's been fine. I have not been hating that. I don't have a trailer either. It's not a light. It's a 175-pound hull, so it is not a light kayak. And I leave my batteries in. Kayak. Very heavy kayak, right? Like 100 pounds more than most kayaks that you would see on the market. This is a very heavy kayak. I just slide it off of the bed extender right into the water. And then I do the same on the way out, lift it up, like prop it up. I jump in the tailgate and I just pull it. And it's been working great. Don't plan on getting a trailer anytime soon because those are expensive too. But yeah, wheels, I'll go rated on that. Same with, like, I have not used it. I have a cart. I was living in my garage. I just moved it to the basement because, like, I don't use you, so you can go away now. I just put it away. All right, trailer for a kayak.
I have watched Alex Rudd take his little flatbed trailer and just slide his heavy ass Hobie out of it, and that looks so nice. I don't like pulling a trailer. I don't have any interest in pulling a trailer, so it's not for me. But if you want to do that, if you're fine with that, you like dealing with the boat ramp chaos, underrated. I think it's super nice not having to lift up a heavy kayak.
Yeah, 100%. The thing to me that puts it into the rated, maybe even underrated category, other than the fact that, like, I don't look forward to using a trailer in terms of driving, but I would get used to it and then it would be fine. Right. So my mind would change. I know that if I had it, I would figure it out. It'd be fine. A couple of days at the ramp, you'll be all right. But I'm with Jason here. Wet launching from a trailer, underrated. The reason that it goes underrated for me is the fact that I could have the kayak rigged out and just stay rigged out. Because now,
exactly.
Yeah. Like if I carry it, if I use wheels even most of the time, like I don't want to put all the weight on that because I have to roll that thing and they're not light. The Boondock sits so far back that you're holding most of the weight in your hand. It's easier. It's more mobile, but it's not easy. But yeah, having it rigged out, like tournament day when we did, I did the Kayak Adventure Series. it's an extra 5-10 minutes. Batteries go in, XI3 goes on. Like you're mounting everything, setting it all up, and then launching it. Trailer backed in, leash it to the dock, park. You're in. You're going, man. So that's what makes it. I'm leaning towards underrated. I don't want to buy one right now. I just said that a minute ago, and like I'm still there. I don't want to buy it right now, but it would be cool to have for sure. All right, we got two more. These are these are more like bass boat ones. You know what a flogger is?
A flogger, is that what you're whacking fish with?
No,
okay.
But that's another thing. We're not talking about a gaff or a baseball
like
bat.
Yeah, a baseball bat. Yeah, that's
but
what we
so this is something usually bass boating it's used, but it's for bed fishing. You can use it in a kayak, but it's like a periscope almost. It's like
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess man, if you're hitting beds that hard and you have that water clarity, we just don't here in East Tennessee most of the time. Underrated. We just are fishing poo water. There's someone out there, man, that really got excited when they got a hook dug into them. Like once, they're like, that was not that bad.
Like, hang on, it's an awakening. Yeah. You got a 4-aught hook through your arm. It's like, hey, you know what? I kind of like this.
Put the hooker away. I want to get this out slow. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going overrated with you because it's not something that I would use here.
Right.
Either. I've done some bed fishing. Our bed fishing window is so small. It's like I just miss it every year because we fish 1 day a week. Check this out. Shout out to Chris Shu, the man, the myth, the legend, for gifting 5 memberships. We do have a members only live coming up in a week or two. What do you say, Chaz? This is oh my gosh. Chaz is going to type in what day it is at some point because I totally forget. I think it's in like 2 weeks. So welcome aboard, Freedom Fishing Ditch Pickle Huntress. That's such a good name.
That is the best name.
That's a great. You win an award for best name. Great job. Carl Cole, Smokey the Angler, and Blind Eye Fishing. Blind Eye's back, baby. Let's go. So welcome aboard. You guys are now members, which means you get to go to that members only live, which is next Tuesday, the 13th. Thank you, Chaz, so much. It's so beneficial having Chaz behind the scenes because I'm like, I forget and I can't look it up right now. So thank you, Chaz. Right. So on the 13th, all my members, please show up to that live. It'll be Tuesday, 13th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. We do giveaways on our members only lives. So if you guys want a chance to win a prize, it's a big old goodie bag, an envelope from USPS. We'll ship you full of baits. You already know there's a rod sock in there because we talked about that a little bit ago. And maybe sometimes, 2. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe it's all rod socks. Oops, all rod socks. So you might get that, but we'll throw a bunch of other fun stuff in there too. So feel free, jump on in. All right, last. I'm going to add one because you just mentioned one. Last 2. Again, we'll rapid fire through these. So lure retrievers. You know what I'm talking about? It like goes on the line.
Yeah.
Throw it down.
I have never done anything but lose them or they don't work.
Yeah. You're trying to salvage a $65 glide bait and it won't work. You're just like, okay, really?
Yeah.
I guess I'm swimming. Because
right.
If I had that Go Mexis glide bait, $120 glide bait, I'm swimming for that thing. I will be.
Yeah, I'm getting down in there and doing that.
So goggles, perhaps underrated. Bring goggles on your boat.
A snorkel.
Snorkel. Totally underrated. Y'all need to put those in your boat right now.
Next to Source Krate, a snorkel holder. That's what
snorkel holder. I love it. Lure retriever, overrated. Sames. I actually had a magnet, an extendable magnet, and it didn't work. So I just like, you're done. I threw it out of my boat. Well, not into the water, you guys. I went home, threw it in the trash. Okay. Just like I don't like this in the water. No, it didn't work. I'm out. I'm not doing that. All right. So last one, the D hooker. This is an interesting one. You just brought it up a second ago. I forgot about it. And there was that new one at ICAST that everybody was raving about. I didn't get to that booth. I wish I had because they were testing it and it was insane. But
yeah,
hooker.
If it actually works as good as it looks, then totally underrated. Totally underrated.
Yeah.
You can really save a day. Most of the people I know that have had treble hooks in them and stuff like that, they just end up having to push it through and then cut it off if they want. And that just does not seem fun. No,
Nope.
or be stubborn and try to pull it back out. But if you have something like that and it does work, I don't know if it works. I didn't make it to that booth either. Then that's got to be way underrated. Again, that'd be something that's perfect in like a medical kit. Like, hey, my buddy got a hook, or this random guy that I'm fishing next to, or anywhere, you know.
Yeah, you come across somebody on the water, right? Yeah, you don't know. People do all sorts of crazy stuff on the water. I had a couple on our lake who were paddling around in sun dolphins, and they had a black lab and a sun dolphin. I was like, "You're over the weight limit. Like, what are you doing?" The kayak was riding so low. Dog jumps out, swims like 300 meters. I'm like, "Get your dog out of the lake. What's happening?" And then this lady flipped her boat, and I'm in my boat. I have my XI3, and I look over. I'm like, "Oh god!" So the dog's in the water, she's in the water, kayak's sinking. I just motor on over. I'm like, "You guys okay? Like, what's going on?" Her husband was there, and he like towed her in, and they're like, "We're good, we're good." Gosh, people, come on, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had a big old hook stuck in their hand. I had one in my thumb just the other day. It was horrible. And that was I had a little BFS mouse bait. We posted the video. It went into this spot on my thumb, into the like cuticle region. Not fun. And I was not about to punch that thing through. I ended up just yanking it out with pliers, which was also not great. And then 99% of the comments on a video like that are going to be like, "Do the braid trick," every single time. So the D-hooker, the one that I saw was like the answer to the braid trick from a legitimate utensil that everybody could do. I think it's pretty cool. Our buddy J-Ball Fishing, which you guys should check out on TikTok, he went over to the booth, did the thing. So I saw his video on it. It looks legit. It looks really legit. So I'd recommend it. I'll go underrated because it's something nobody's grabbing. Put it in your first aid kit. That's what it's for, right?
Right.
First aid kit required. D-hooker maybe required in the first aid kit. All right, I think we did it. We got through everything on my list. I'm surprised. Paul was here.
Too.
He would have tapped out 25 minutes ago. All right. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I do want to do a couple fun, slow rolling thunder questions. We'll roll on out of here. I want to make sure everybody's watching right now. If you didn't catch it earlier in the show, this is Josh from Source Krate. So go check out Source Krate. It's just sourcekrate.com.
Sourcekrate.com, Source Krate on socials. Yep.
Awesome. So spelled exactly like you see on his name there, Source Krate with a K. Go check that out. All right. Are you ready for some slow rolling thunder questions? Just for funsies. They are fishing related, relatively. All right. So first question. These are the OG questions. Every time we had a guest on the show, we would ask these questions. And we did this for the entire running length of the Burley Fishing podcast, I believe. Then we changed it up. So first question. What is the best gas station boat snack?
It's got to be, you know what are those New Orleans chips that they got right now that are like everywhere now? The voodoo ones? Yeah.
Voodoo's, yeah.
Those are good. They cut my mouth, but they're so good. They're so good. It's because I eat them too fast.
They actually curse your mouth. It's not a cut. It's the voodoo, bro. You got to be careful. All right. A respectable answer. I like it. Chips on the boat. You know what? I haven't had chips on the boat in a while. I might try that next time I go out.
It's just a good salty snack, man. It's just fitting for a nice hot day.
I love it. Caro Ferg, they are Zaps. That's the brand. You are correct.
Yep.
And they are delicious. When we were down in Florida for ICAST, we picked up a bunch. And we're eating them up. They're great. All right. Good answer. Acceptable answer. Moving on. All right. We say there's no wrong answers. There's just less right ones. That is a right one. That is a good one. All right. Question number 2. We actually addressed this during the show, but what is the ideal boat shoe?
It's just any water shoe that's not a croc.
Anything but a croc.
Anything but a croc.
The whole running length of our previous version of this podcast, Paul and I were vehemently on Croc Talk.
I remember. That's
Listen, we've changed our ways. We're not trying to spread the word of Croc anymore. All right.
That's really what was behind the name change, right? The shift.
It was mostly that. We're like, this is part of our identity. We got to change this identity, man. I'm with you, man. We're gonna switch to water shoes. It's definitely just a smarter play.
Low squeak. That's the biggest thing. Low squeak.
High speed, low squeak.
Yep. If someone can make me a sticker of that, that's going on my kayak.
High speed, low squeak, and it's just a circle crossing out a croc. It's like high speed, low. Chaz, I don't have Paul here. We have to put this on a board somewhere. Remind me at the end of the show once we get off live. We'll make a shirt. We're due for some shirt ideas, y'all. So if anybody has any like cool shirt ideas, any shirts you'd want to see from the show, let us know. You can DM us on Instagram at AA Anglers. Would love to hear them. I want to put some work into them over the fall, winter. Because it's winter up here in Michigan, we don't fish because it's either ice out or it's not cold enough for ice, but it's too cold for fish to really do anything. So we're going to have to come up with some creative ideas, y'all. Maybe we're making baits again. Maybe we're making new shirts.
Do you guys ice fish?
We do, but unless you go way up north for the past 3 years, we haven't had enough ice.
Okay. Well, if you do, I'm gonna try to make the Source Krate an ice fishing box that you can just tow behind you. So let me know, and I'll have you guys prototype that stuff.
Like a standalone, like you put a sled base on it?
Pretty much.
Or
yeah.
So it'd be a very small sled.
Pretty much a really small sled.
I like that
maybe
a lot.
I don't ice fish. I've never been far enough north for it. So maybe some other ice fishing specific accessories.
I'm down. That would be fun. And then you could stow all your ice rods on it. Because like the alternative is right now we have like gigantic sleds. They're like XL sleds. Because we both carry a bunch of stuff. So we got like a shelter. I got a rod locker that we put all our rods into. We got 2 Vexilars that we're taking out there. We got our buckets. It's a lot, and it doesn't need to be. Ice fishing can be super simple. So I like that idea a lot. That would be really cool. And Furious Coffee gets it. Winter is weird in Michigan for fishing. They just turned completely off. It's basically unfishable unless you get ice. And like I said, last 3 years, mild winters, we haven't had enough safe ice. Last year, I did not go out once. I saw on the lake, I live on in between 2 private lakes. That lake over there, I saw one person on it. And it was on a day it was raining. And we definitely had well under 3 inches of ice. It was not safe. It's got one guy out there. I drove by and I was like, all right, we're going to be hearing about his obituary pretty soon. Do not like that. So no, thank you. I don't know if we're going to go ice fishing. Hopefully, eventually we will. But it is a lot of fun. I do enjoy it. All right. Next question. This is very important. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you, but it is a high pressure question. So it is what it is. Sun shirts, hood or no hood? Or no sun shirt?
Just no shirt. Yeah.
Or that's Chaz. Chaz will tell you no shirt.
I have not really used a hooded one, but with my big sun hats, I definitely am a hood kind of guy. Yeah.
I see.
I don't necessarily love stuff over my ears because I like to hear what's going on around me.
Fair. Totally fair. I would say, like, if you have the sun hat, I don't know. Chaz, is that cheating? Does that count as a hood, no hood answer? What do you think? Tell me in chat. So I don't want to give Paul this win. I just don't want to give him the win. I say it doesn't count. I say the alternative answer was sun hat.
Half hood. Yeah.
Counts as half hood. That's what I want to hear, Chaz. Yeah. That's what I want to hear.
New category, half hood.
Yeah, so Paul and I are like divided on this. He hates hoods, yet he wears them all. He's wearing this shirt like all the time. This Great Lakes we just picked up. He'll wear a hood on his sun shirt all the time, but he's like, no hood, team no hood. I'm team hood all day. Even if I don't put it up, I don't know why. I want to have a hood on my shirts.
I think it definitely. I think I like the way the hood ones look more.
Yeah.
Than the no hood ones, but yeah. But that hood is not going over my head.
Fair enough. Totally get it. It really only goes over my head on super hot bluebird days. And I'm like, my ears are getting fried. I'm sweating profusely. I'm like, hood. And then I feel better for a little while. So that's where I'm at. All right. Last one. And this is not an OG question, just a fun one. And we're rolling out on this one, you guys. So first of all, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Josh, thanks for your time. Last question for the night. Would you rather lose. Now I know you're fishing ugly sticks, but I want you to pretend for me that you've got like a $300 to $400 combo, just like a sick combo. Would you rather lose that or hook and lose your PB?
Oh, I would much rather hook and lose my PB. My PB is a 19-inch largemouth, so it's nothing that's too exciting.
Okay, but a new PB. What if I told you there was a 10-pounder on the line? You still gonna throw that PB away, or are you throwing away $400?
I'm not throwing away $400 because I didn't bring a net, and I don't know if I can land it. So
you throw away the $400 because it's the would you rather, and you still lose the fish. You're like, nah.
Yeah,
I couldn't get the net. The net was tangled up and everything.
Exactly. I'm keeping that rod. I'll just cut the line right there once that rod tip goes down that much. I'm just like, nope, not even messing with it.
I don't know. Like, all right. So here's what I think. This is what goes through my mind when I think about this question. Lord of the Rings. You've watched Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah.
Okay. When Smeagol and Deagle are fishing, and Deagle goes under because the salmon like runs with the line, and he's just holding on to the rod. He's underwater. That goes through my head every time I think of this question.
Yeah, no, that's
bro. I'm going for the ride. Worst case scenario, I find the one ring. I'm just saying. All right, hear me out, guys. I'm holding on to that PB. That rod's going bye-bye. It's fine. All right, great answers, man. Thank you so much for being a good sport today on the show. I think we had a lot of fun. Like I said, you guys go check out Source Krate and support Josh if you can. This is a small business endeavor. There's a lot of big names out there that are pumping out kayak crates. Here's somebody trying to do something different, innovative, and awesome. Definitely check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight, and we will catch you next week when I think Paul is back, probably, and so will I, hopefully. So we'll see you guys then. All right, Chaz, take us out.